last night in a hit parade. They'll be back in action tonight at 6:20 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gun performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
So school, I think, is officially out now. Like, I think it's over with. I think graduation for a lot of places is tomorrow. And we'll have a special shout-out to give tomorrow, by the way. But I think school's out now for the summer, so congratulations, kids, on making it out of this year. If you're in the car right now and say you're headed from the second grade to the third grade or the fourth grade to the fifth grade or the eighth grade to the ninth grade, congratulations to all of you and all the hard work that you've put in. All right, I want to start on this story today, and this goes back to the everybody thinks Jared Stillman's negative all the time. We want to hear the good talk, Jared. We want to hear good things about the Titans. We don't want to hear you talk about the receivers, and we don't want to hear you talk about Kevin Byard, and we want to hear you talk about the good things, or the people who after the draft texted in and said, we want Titan fans on the radio. That would be me. Now, I do need to say, I picked the Titans to go 11-6, and everybody thinks I'm crazy. Then Adam Vingan went and did it himself. He's 10-7. So what is this? All right. Oh God. Okay. All right.
All good in there?
There's this random freaking blue cord that's supposed to be like in this set where it's supposed to be like zip tied. And
is it bugging you?
Driving me freaking crazy.
Okay, well, we'll have to get it during the break.
What? There's no getting it. Like, unless I just unplug it and I don't know what it is.
I wouldn't do that.
I mean, it's a random blue cord that just keeps smacking me in the legs, driving me nuts. Oh, goodness gracious. Anywho, everybody thinks I'm super negative, and what happens is when I tell you something bad about the Titans, you, instead of thinking about the fact that, wow, this could be bad about the Titans, you think that it's me going after the Titans. So you make it about me instead of making it about the Titans. We had this same problem with the Predators for years and years and years. So ESPN Bill Barnwell ranks the best and worst off seasons in the NFL. Guess who came in at number 32? The worst offseason in the National Football League. You, the Tennessee Titans. Bill Barnwell writes at ESPN when talking about how the Titans had the worst offseason. And you know me, I'm the kind of guy, I saw this and I thought, wait a minute, hold up, what? Bill Barnwell writes, quote, what went right? New general manager Rand Carthon cleared out veterans who weren't living up to expectations. While the Titans are only a year removed from finishing as the number one seed in the AFC, their second half collapse spurred the firing of GM John Robinson. And an aggressive retooling Carthon and company released Taylor Lewan, Bud Dupree, Robert Woods, and Zach Cunningham, moves that all made sense financially, but might have been avoided by a team hoping to compete in 2023. I don't think so. I don't think there's a single move that any other team would not have made. I don't think a single team would have kept Lewan. I don't think a single team would have kept Dupree, maybe Woods, and I don't think a single team would have kept Zach Cunningham. Like, I don't think Cincinnati, if they'd had those players, would have done that. I don't think anybody would have done that. He continues. Carthon mostly stuck to importing former 49er players as he signed Daniel Brunskill, Azeez Al-Shaair, and Arden Key. Key is an underrated edge rusher, and none of those contracts were unreasonable. Hoping to rebuild the offensive line, the Titans used their first-round pick on Peter Skoronski, who should start at guard before possibly moving to left tackle. That's also pretty stupid, but probably what's going to happen. Carthon also moved up in the second round to grab Will Levis, who could start at quarterback in 2024. Then it gets to the what went wrong. Because, like I said, I'll hammer the Titans when I feel like the Titans need to be hammered. But I wondered how they could have the worst offseason in the NFL. Barnwell writes, I'm not sure whether the Titans are rebuilding. The two moves hanging over the organization's head all offseason still haven't been resolved, as Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are still on the roster. Have they not been resolved? I mean, I think they're resolved. Tannehill's the quarterback, Henry's the running back, right? He writes, both are entering the final year of their respective deals and have declined over the past 2 seasons. That's another statement I'm not sure I agree with. Tannehill is 34, Henry is 29, and are really going to be pushing the team forward next season, let alone in 2024 and beyond. Kevin Byard was asked to take a pay cut, but after he called Tennessee's bluff, the team kept its starting safety on the roster. I would add the for now. Holding on to those players compromised the moves Carthon could have made as he rebuilt the roster. The Titans needed a new left tackle after cutting Lawan, but the addition of Andre Dillard saw Carthon pay $10 million for a 2019 first-round pick who didn't develop into a starter under standout offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland in Philadelphia. Is Dillard really likely to be better in Tennessee? A secondary that has missed on draft picks and free agent signings added only Sean Murphy-Bunting on a 1-year deal. At the league's most critical positions, quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge rusher, and corner, the Titans are deficient. In past seasons, they were able to make up for that with what they had elsewhere, including Henry, Byard, Simmons, and Autry, and an excellent interior offensive line. Simmons is a superstar, but Tennessee desperately needs Dillard, Harold Landry, and Treylon Burks to join them in 2023. So I read that, and I interpreted that as the Titans had the worst offseason in the NFL because they didn't tear their team down, and they're going to try to compete this upcoming season. How is that a bad offseason? I go back to Tannehill. We praise, and I say we, I'm not talking about myself, but it's like everybody in the media has praised the New Orleans Saints. And the New Orleans Saints were just as bad as you were last year because they were supposed to pick 10th, except for they traded their pick to Philadelphia, but they were right there with you. You were 11th, they were 10th. What did they do? They went out and got Derek Carr, a quarterback who statistically, over his entire career, the last 3 seasons and last season, has not been better than Tannehill. He's 2 years younger than Tannehill, so they're roughly the same age. And everybody saw that and said, whoa, way to go, Saints. That's a great move. The Saints are back. With Derek Carr? The team Derek Carr was with gets Jimmy Garoppolo, a quarterback that literally nobody in the league wanted last year. And he's their starting quarterback now. And by the way, he had another foot surgery after they signed him. Oh, yeah, Jimmy G, I'll tell you, he's going to be the Raiders that they sucked last year. And they got rid of the quarterback that everybody says New Orleans is going to be better because they signed. And now people still think the Raiders are doing it. I don't get it. The criticism of the Titans in this article is bullcrap. The idea that they kept Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill are good. I don't understand how people don't, I do not understand how hard of a time people that do not watch the Titans have in understanding how it is that the Titans win. They all watch the Thursday night game at Green Bay, right? The last win the Titans had of the season last year, which set them at 7-3. How did they win that game? Did Treylon Burks magically pass the ball to himself? Chigga Okonkwo, Austin Hooper, Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook. Did they magically pass the ball to themselves? Or did somebody else do that? The Titans last year with a third-string quarterback were right there against Jacksonville. Did the running back, did Derrick Henry just get 100 yards because Dennis Daly and that backup offensive line pushed the Jags and their number 1 picks back so far? Of course not. It's because Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are good players. Are they great players? I think Henry is. Tannehill, not so much. Are they elite players? I still think Henry is. But this tells me absolutely nothing. This is just saying they had the worst offseason. Why? Well, they kept Henry and Tannehill. And are Henry and Tannehill going to help them in 2024? Are they going to help them in 2025? No, but that's not what you build your team for. To me, the rhetoric around Tannehill, it's crazy. And I am not even a Tannehill supporter. But it is crazy to me when people sit here and they talk about the Titans, and it's like it's a bad thing that the Titans have the league's second leading rusher on their team. Oh, that's bad. Why is that bad? Why is it bad that the Titans have the only running back in the NFL who single-handedly accounts for winning for his team? Over the last 5 years, one running back has been responsible for his team's success, Henry. The Browns don't win with Nick Chubb. The Raiders didn't win with Josh Jacobs last year. The only other team whose running back, in my opinion, carries the team is Jonathan Taylor 2 years ago with the Colts. But even that team couldn't get into the playoffs. Derrick Henry's the only guy who can carry the team and win games. And they're telling me it's a bad thing that the Titans still have Derrick Henry? I mean, we've seen inept quarterback play in our lives. We've seen Jake Locker. We've seen Vince Young at the end. We saw Marcus Mariota. We've seen quarterbacks that can't get the team over the hump. We've seen teams that have terrible quarterback play, like the Denver Broncos last year. And how many of those teams, when Carson Wentz is quarterbacking the Colts, a move that everybody liked in the offseason, how many of those teams did we look at as a group of people that get to watch Tannehill every week and say, well, thank God we don't have that loser. And got Baker Mayfield's not the quarterback here. I mean, this is crazy talk. The worst offseason in the NFL? Now, the reason why I can't tell you why this team's offseason is worse or that team's offseason is worse, because I don't keep up with all the teams as far as, who exactly did what. But the Titans' offseason wasn't that bad. I mean, I think they had some good moves. I think they had some bad decisions and some questionable we'll sees. Like, I think the fact that they have 3 new offensive linemen and they're not going to be relying on Dennis Daly next season, I think that's good. I think Arden Key, who unlike Bud Dupree actually plays on Sundays, I think that move's good. Simmons and Autry are freaking beasts. Landry, when he comes back, they tell me he's going to be 100%. And give me a guy who's consistent and plays every game to go with those 3, and I like my batting order. And even the Murphy Bunting thing, I think he kind of sucks, but I think most corners kind of suck. But he's an extra starting caliber corner. Those aren't bad moves. Now, I find the Andre Dillard thing, I find that a little questionable because I'm not sure Andre Dillard's very good, and I wouldn't blame it left tackle over Skoronski. I think the Will Levis thing's a little questionable. Now, I'm for it, but we'll see. And then the Tajay Spears thing between his knee and his roll, that's where I find that to be questionable. And the reason I say questionable on the roll is because if he's just a third down back who comes in the game to catch passes out of the backfield, you paid Dontrell Hilliard $1.1 million to do that last year. You don't need a third-round pick on that. And the bad is they didn't get a wide receiver when they needed a wide receiver. They don't really have a second tight end like they had Hooper last year, who I actually thought was pretty good. And they still have no punt returner or no kicker. And then the stupid of asking Kevin Byard to take a pay cut. But I don't think any of those things is just, oh my God, this is the worst in the league. The receiver thing's pretty bad. But, again, the fact you read the article about what says the Titans had the worst offseason in the NFL, and it is for the fact that the Titans kept their quarterback and their running back. Their running back, who for the last 5 years has been the most impactful running back in the NFL, and I would argue the third most impactful player that's not a quarterback. Because I would put Aaron Donald and Travis Kelce ahead of Derrick Henry in terms of impact. But I think as far as winning and losing games, Henry is third over the last 5 years. By the way, as far as quarterback rating is concerned, which is, a cumulative stat, it doesn't mean everything. It also doesn't mean nothing. As far as quarterback rating is concerned, Ryan Tannehill's 94.6 was better than Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Kenny Pickett, Derek Carr, Desmond Ridder, and Deshaun Watson. All guys that'll be on your schedule next year. So I don't get, how is this the worst offseason in the NFL? It's just ridiculous. And I mean, Bill Barnwell, and I don't have a problem with Bill Barnwell because he just kind of sits at his computer and writes articles for people to get mad at, and this is clearly an example of that. But I mean, to say that the Titans offseason is bad because they kept Henry and Tannehill makes literally no sense to me. I mean, again, the Washington Commanders are sitting here with Sam Howell as their quarterback. I have no idea if Sam Howell's going to be any good. But the fact that they didn't even look for another quarterback, be concerning to me. Titans' worst offseason in the NFL. That's ridiculous. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get to some of your phones today, 615-737-1025. And the biggest question that I do not get when it comes to the Titans, it makes zero sense to me. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
We are your home for every big pass.
Chase Elliott will pick up the stage 1 win.
Big wreck.
Joey Logano gets turned. He's Hardy to the inside wall.
And big win.
Kyle Busch has won here at the Talladega Superspeedway.
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Now through Memorial Day, get fantastic deals at Electronic Express. Get an LG 75-inch 4K TV for just $699 or a Frigidaire 4-piece kitchen package for $21.99. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture and mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an Acer gaming monitor for just $129 or an HP 14-inch laptop for only $199. Get up to 3 years free financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
20 years ago, when Genesis Diamonds came to Nashville, this was one of the most expensive cities in America for diamond jewelry. Our radical approach and no middleman pricing changed that forever. And now we're doing it again, this time with lab-grown diamonds. We were shocked to find out what the other mall stores and the other big radio advertisers were charging. They sell their platinum 4-carat VS2 lab-grown earrings for $15,720. We sell them for $6,900. Their 3.08 carat lab-grown round diamond with G-Color VS2 clarity is $10,045. We sell it for $5,900. Looks like they might be going back to the old ways. If they're charging this much on lab-grown diamonds, kind of makes you wonder what else they're selling at the same outrageous markup. Nashville, we are not going backwards. At Genesis Diamonds, our non-commissioned trusted advisors are here to give you all the information with details you can trust and prices you can count on. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
312 Pizza Company is a proud sponsor of Nashville Sounds Baseball on 102.5 The Game.
For more than a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. In their car, at home, or on the job, more than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. AM radio is also the backbone of the emergency alert system, which keeps us safe in dangerous times. It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Beach Bend Park and Splash Lagoon. Big park, bigger fun, and big savings with buy one, get one free admission. 2 parks, 2 tickets for the price of 1 while supplies last at thegamenashville.com/deals. Beach Bend Park, where parking, tubes, and sunscreen are always free. Your ticket to summer fun and just a short drive to Bowling Green, Kentucky. Get your BOGO deal while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In terms of this off season, between
yourself and Derek and Kevin Byard as far as all the rumors and all that floated out on the internet and what each of you probably were traded or released 3 times. How did you respond to all that as things like that come about, even though you're still here?
Yeah, I tried to stay out of it, honestly. Didn't see a lot of it. I'd get a text from a friend or something. Like, oh, really? So just try to stay out of it as much as you can. I think riding that roller coaster is a tough one to ride. So just try to stay out of it, and just kept my head down, kept doing the things I could do each and every day. And if something was going to happen, I'm sure they'd let me know. So didn't really ride that roller coaster.
There you go. That was Ryan Tannehill. You think it was just a text from a friend? Just oh, interesting.
Some friend.
I mean, because between everything every day this offseason from the national media surrounding Tannehill has been that the Titans are getting rid of Tannehill. And Bill Barnwell at ESPN writes they had the worst offseason in the NFL because they didn't get rid of Tannehill and Henry. I mean, it's crazy to me. I will say this. Tannehill is not the best quarterback in the NFL. Some people, like Ian, are crazy and think that Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. But even then, Ryan Tannehill's not a bad quarterback. And yet they're just thinking, oh, no, the Titans need to be worried about all the other years and not this year. I do wonder how much the Titans did this to themselves by every opportunity that they were given to commit to Tannehill. They basically didn't take. And that may be my fault because I was the one who kept asking it over and over and over and over again. But and maybe it was the sense that, the Titans aren't even fully sold on Tannehill, that maybe, that's why they should have got, I don't know. But it's crazy talk to me. Your phones have blown up, so we'll get to them. I mean, this topic's got a lot of people upset. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Kevin in Laverne says, Jared, you're absolutely spot on. That article was ridiculous. The Titans can compete with Derrick Henry, and the NFL needs to be put on notice with a revamped offensive line, a record-breaking season for Henry with another 2,000-yard season. Now, I'm not that excited. But I do think Derrick Henry, in my opinion, Derrick Henry has earned the right to be Derrick Henry until he shows us that he's not Derrick Henry anymore. So if Derrick goes out this season and he's averaging 2.2 yards a carry, then fine. Finally all of the wear and tear caught up with him, and that's why Derrick's not Derrick anymore, and you're probably looking, as everybody in the national media wants right now, you're probably going to have your new era. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Texter says, you've spent the last 2 months criticizing the free agent signings of the new left tackle, the new right guard, the corner, and their wide receivers. So, yes, their offseason has sucked. Let me say this. I think Dillard should play guard. But I actually liked the signing of Dillard. The reason why I think he should play guard now is because I think Skoronski should be the tackle, because I think Skoronski's the better player, and I think left tackle's a more important position. But I watched the tape on Dillard. He's a pass protector. Doesn't have a lot of dog in him, but that's okay. For bargain basement money, they can work around that. The right guard, he's a guard. You know how I feel about guards. The wide receivers are bad. I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, they've even practically admitted to that. Chris is up next here on Tajay Spears. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, go ahead.
I have questions. Okay, I'm going to make this real quick because I know you don't have a lot of radio time. We all hate the Titans receiving room, correct?
Correct.
What about Tajay Spears at wide receiver? Is it possible that Rand Carthon had that in mind when he was drafted? I think the guy has promise at playing possible. I'm not talking about running back out of the backfield catching balls. I'm talking about using him at receiver, which I thought the Titans should have done with Chris Johnson back in the day, a little bit here and there. They didn't want him to get injured. Okay, and now I'm going to quickly get on to question number 2 so I don't waste your time. Question number 2 is, what do you think about a package the Titans may install with Levis at quarterback, Tannehill as a receiver because he was a receiver at Texas A&M, and then you've got Spears and Malik Willis in the backfield? I think that could be used as some weapons. I'm just going to hang up and let you talk.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for your call. I think it's a little crazy. Remember, you get 6 eligible receivers if you want to count the quarterback. You get 5 eligible receivers on every play, but 6 if you want to count the quarterback in this scenario. To play 3 quarterbacks on one play means you can only have 1 Derrick Henry and 1 Chigakonkwo or 1 Treylon Burks. To me, on everything except an obvious passing down, I want Burks, Okonkwo, and Henry on the field on every play. That's what I want. I want them on the field on every play. Not this idea, let's run this gimmick package and put this guy here and put this guy there. Now, the one thing that he did say, he brought up the Tajay Spears at receiver, which I don't think is going to happen. But one thing I do think is going to happen is I think the Titans are going to play with 2 running backs a lot. Like, I think they're going to play with Spears and Henry together a lot, the way they did that some last year, specifically in the Washington game with Dontrell Hilliard and Derrick Henry. And that might be the only way that they justify the move of drafting Tajay Spears, which they did. Terrence is up next here. Thank you for calling. What's up, Terrence?
Yes, I don't understand how this article is ridiculous because, you guys on the radio, one at a time, spent the whole offseason talking about they need to trade Tannehill.
Who said that?
Trade Derrick Henry. Everyone on the radio.
Did I say that?
At one point in time, yeah.
I did not say this year that they needed to trade Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Kevin Byard one at a time, when I knew all along that the Titans are nothing without those 3 guys. Those 3 guys are the pillars of the Tennessee Titans. So I hang up and listen.
So what you're talking about, what you're saying, and I would say accusing us of, but specifically, we'll just use me in this example, is the idea that us talking about whether or not the rumors of Tannehill being traded, Henry being traded, Byard being traded, means that we endorse the idea that Tannehill should be traded, Byard should be traded, or Henry should be traded. That's something that, I'll say it. Paul Kaharski came up to me like a couple weeks ago, and he was like, I would like to hear an hour where you talk about all the things that you guys talked about during the offseason with Henry, Byard, and Tannehill didn't happen. And I'm like, you want me to apologize for the fact that there are rumors out there about you shopping the best player in the history of the Tennessee Titans? Like, we're not supposed to talk about that? Like, that's not what talk radios are. No, it's not that. You shouldn't apologize. Just say that, that it didn't happen. I'm like, the audience knows it didn't happen. But then we get a call like that that's like, all I hear is about how the Titans should be trading Tannehill. Didn't hear that on this show. You did not hear that on this show. Now, if you were to call in and say, I heard on this show that the Titans were going to trade up to number 3 and draft C.J. Stroud, but then they couldn't shut their mouth, and Houston caught wind of it, and Houston took Stroud at 2 and then traded back for Will Anderson, then you would be right. You did hear that on this program. But you did not hear they should cut Derrick Henry, they should trade Ryan Tannehill, you did not hear that on this program. In fact, we said that other people said it and that we disagreed with it. So don't be accusing me over here. 615-737-1025. We'll get to more of your phones. A lot of you want to weigh in on this. I am very disappointed. Now, I have backed the Tennessee Titans offseason for the last 30 minutes. But I am incredibly disappointed about something that happened Tuesday, Wednesday, and culminated this morning. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025 is the phone number, and I will try to get to as many of these phones as I can before TD gets here. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game.
All the big plays.
Tannehill, Henry, right up the middle, touchdown, Tennessee.
All the big stories.
The Titans' window to contend is however long Derrick Henry stays Derrick Henry.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Gets it back and scores.
Our execution was good.
They have not found their groove.
It's always great to win in this league. It's tough to win.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure's 31st Memorial Day sale.
DIY pools start at just $19.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed. 6 months, same as cash.
Great prices on spas and hot tubs. The Cypress Spa by Strong is only $29.99.
I want some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has hundreds of sets on sale.
The Sabre Infrared Grill starts at only $11.99. Complete Bull Grill Island start at only $39.99. Installed with a Sabre grill head. Tanning beds, pool tables, massage chairs on sale now.
Family Leisure, 2 huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Buffalo Bill's Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's East entrance. 5 museums in one, including the fantastic Whitney Western Art Museum. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bill's Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
Get a great deal on one of the most versatile tractors in the industry, the Kubota BX, which is part of Kubota's tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Stop by Krebs Kubota today and bring home select BX series equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800. Now through June 30th, see Krebs Kubota or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details. Krebs Kubota, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment dealer. Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Online at KrebsKubota.com.
The postseason is here. Whether it's the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs or the NBA, we have you covered on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
That's probably the million-dollar question that everyone asks every year is, wait, what's going on with the kicker part? But we're continuing to look, just like the answer I said beforehand of finding new competition. We thought Randy was, he was 17 for 20 at 85% last year, which is, I wouldn't say it's the top, but it's a pretty good average when you get up close to 85%.
In that regard, how much does needing a guy who can hit consistently from 50 plus need to be a factor?
Yeah, you can look at it that way, but I'm looking at more of the money zone from 40 to 49 yards. If we can make consistent kicks from there, great. 50 plus, also great too, but I wouldn't say that that's a major thing that we're going to be looking at. We just want to have a guy that's going to be consistent in everything that he does.
Doesn't that seem like the standards of love for returners? You want them to catch the ball. For kickers, 49 yards is your limit. Meanwhile, around the league, the kicks over 50 yards are off the charts, and catching the ball is a presumption that every team
Sure. I would say going on to the kicking part first, I wouldn't say 49 is our top limit. I just want our 40 to 49 to be very consistent. And then with 50 plus, that's great. You're right. We got to kick field goals from 50 plus. There's no doubt about that. We're really focused in on the 40 to 49 right now in the off season, and we'll continue to work with 50 or 50 plus.
There you go. There's your special teams coach, Craig Ackerman. I just want you to know, if you heard that right there, and you were somebody that when Vrabel defended Craig Ackerman against me at the Rand Carthon press conference, and you were like, yeah, Mike, you showed him, I want you to listen to that, and I want you to then go back and watch the Vrabel and me interaction. Because that's your coach sitting up there like a bozo talking about how I'm only worried about field goal kicking from 40 to 49 yards. Which takes me to the news today. So on Tuesday, Brandon McManus, who has been the kicker for the Denver Broncos since 2014, tweeted out that he had been informed of his release. And a lot of people asked, Jared, should the Titans go after Brandon McManus? And I believe that they should, even though they've got young Caleb Shudak, who I call Mega Man because he's tiny. He looks like a little baby out there kicking. And Trey Wolf, who did make his kicks yesterday in OTAs, he was out there kicking, and he's an undrafted free agent out of Texas Tech. So people said, should they go after Brandon McManus? The answer to me is yes. They should have gone after Brandon McManus. Then I wake up this morning, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have signed Brandon McManus. Where were you on that one, Craig Aukerman? Where were you on that one, Mike Vrabel? Well, we don't care about kicking 50-yarders. We just want to be good from 40 to 49. I got the stats up right in front of me. Brandon McManus in 2022, from 40 to 49, 10 of 10. Brandon McManus in 2021, from 40 to 49, 8 of 8. Brandon McManus in 2020, from 40 to 49, 8 of 8. The difference is, so he makes all of those. The money zone, which I have never heard, by the way. I've never heard of this. In today's NFL, somebody saying, we just wanted somebody to make field goals from 40 to 49 yards. Now, look, I know he kicks in Denver, so the air's thinner, so it's a little different. But Brandon McManus made a 55-yard kick last season. He made a 61-yard kick the year before that. Old Randy Bullock's long when he was with the Titans was 51 yards. Randy Bullock, and here's the big difference. Randy Bullock in 2022, from 50-plus, was 1 of 2. In 2021, Randy Bullock was 1 of 1. So the Titans only trust Minileg to go out there and kick 3 times from beyond 50. McManus last year was 8 of 13. They went out there for 13 field goals from beyond 50 yards. Why did they do that? Because they could. Why have you only tried it 3 times over the last 2 years? Because you can't kick from that far. And so you're sitting there telling me, oh, yeah, we want to find a kicker. It's a priority. This is the money zone for us. A kicker comes available. A good kicker comes available. And you're not interested. And Jacksonville goes and signs the good kicker. I mean, what the hell are we doing? Like, I don't get it. This is what pisses me off about the Titans and about everything that they say, is that Vrabel gets up there at a press conference, tells us it's not the special teams coach's fault that they can't field a freaking punt. Then he tells the general manager, Ran, go get us some returners. And guess what they did not do this offseason? They did not get a returner. It's like Vrabel sits up there after the draft in which they didn't get you a wide receiver, and he says, oh, we'll get a wide receiver. Hey, the waiver wire, we'll bang that out. We'll go all throughout. We'll figure it out. We'll work on the salary cap, which is fake. We'll work on the cap. We'll do this. We'll do this. And then they didn't do it. And then the offensive coordinator is like, well, Racey McMath had 1 catch against the Cowboys, so he can do that every play. It's a freaking joke. Like, wake your asses up over there. Did you not see that Brandon McManus got released? Did you not pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, we haven't had somebody that can kick around here for 4 years. Would you like to come in and kick? Oh, no, we were busy. Jacksonville was on the phone. So now when you get to play them, they'll have a guy who can actually kick, and you won't. Because you haven't had a guy who can kick, and you don't do anything about it. Did you draft a kicker? No. Did you sign a kicker? No. You didn't do anything about it. Some undrafted free agent Scarbini out of Texas Tech. That's the answer. Boy, I tell you, this is how championships are won. I mean, it's just freaking ridiculous. The special teams have been trash for the last 6 or 7 years. Craig Aukerman has not done a damn thing as the special teams coach. And every year we get told it's not his fault. Every year Vrabel says, well, I can't get mad at Craig Aukerman about the fact that we can't catch a punt, They hired 2 new special teams coaches. They hired 2 new special teams. They have 3 special teams coaches. How many people does it take to coach special teams? How many people does it take to pick up the phone and call a guy who has kicked in the NFL for a decade and say, hey, would you like to solve this problem that we have, that we cannot make field goals? Would you please like to do that? No. We're going to run it out there between somebody who is 5'5" and somebody who is an undrafted free agent out of Texas Tech. And Jacksonville gets them. Did you draft a kicker? Nope. Did you draft a kicker last year? Nope. I mean, do they even look at their freaking team sometimes and say, we don't have any wide receivers, but you know what we need? We need another running back. That's what we need. I mean, I saw that this morning that Jacksonville had signed Brandon McManus, and I almost puked. I mean, the best part about the entire Ackerman thing was him making it sound like Randy Bullock was good. Hey, Randy, Randy, so why'd you cut him? Like, if Mini Leg was so good, why'd you cut him, and why does nobody in the NFL want him? 'Cause he sucks. Now, here's the good news. Riley Patterson got cut by Jacksonville. I'm looking at his chart from last year. They let him try 3 field goals from 50+, which is an upgrade from the 2 field goals that you let your guys try. He made a 53-yarder last year. Now, he's not as good from the money zone. He was only 10 of 13 last year from the 40 to 49, which is the most important stat for Craig Ackerman, the kicking coach there for the Titans. But maybe you should try to go get him. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the idea of just waiting for the kicker to come around, that doesn't seem to work with this team. And you can tell me that it doesn't matter, but they missed a 47-yarder. It cost them the first game of the year. They lost a game at Los Angeles against the Chargers last year where Mini Leg missed from 51, and they lost by 3. It matters. It affects decisions you make offensively. It affects what you do on 3rd down, because if you can't kick it far, then you're going to have to go for it on 4th down. It's a weapon for the Baltimore Ravens to say, hey, we just need to get in the vicinity of field goal range, and Justin Tucker's going to bang it through. And I'm not saying Brandon McManus is the best kicker in the NFL. And if he was, he wouldn't have been getting released. But he's better than what you've got. I mean, do the phones work over there? Like, do the phones work and go anywhere except for people who have played for the San Francisco 49ers? Or running backs. Like, I don't. That Brandon McManus thing, you talk about I could not believe. That's embarrassing. This kicking is embarrassing. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I told you the day he said it. The second the special teams cost the Titans a game, the second they hit a snapper in the head like they did last year against Cincinnati, the second they jump off sides on a field goal, allow the other team to go for it, and end up scoring a touchdown like they did in the Philly game. They miss field goals to lose the Giants game and they miss a 51-yarder against the Chargers. The second they let Jamal Agnew crease him to put him back in the game in the last game of the year that was basically like a playoff game, the second the special teams flub up for the umpteenth time under this group, you are going to hear me play that cut, and I am going to go as crazy as I did today, because I'm determined that if I don't do this, then everybody's just going to brush it under the rug, and we're going to forget about how bad this is, and then come 47-yard field goal time against the Giants, they're going to miss it, and we're all going to say, well, it's just field goals in the NFL. No. If you lose that game this year, you lost it on May 25th, because you could have gotten a kicker who, for the last 3 years, has not missed from your quote-unquote money range. I'm worked up. Your phones. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company, 1025-1063 The Game.
every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rex Road for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan South. School's almost out. Parents, are you ready for the summer break? Long days, hot weather, restless kids? Oh my, we've got one possible solution for you. Our annual student car giveaway. If you have a high school student who makes good grades, listen up. Our student car giveaway is our way of rewarding those smart students. For every A on their report card, they get one entry to win a brand new Nissan Versa. That's right, good grades might equal a free car. The student doesn't even have to have their own driver's license. Just good grades on a Tennessee high school report card. It's simple to enter too. Just go to newtonnissansouth.com/our car giveaway and follow the instructions to enter. They must be present to win at the giveaway event at Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville on June 23rd. The deadline to enter is June 12th, so don't delay. Enter your high schooler today. Yes, this is a free car that will be given away to one lucky Tennessee high school student. Even if they only got one A in gym class, they're eligible.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knezovic here for Superbook Sports. Bring that big bet energy this summer with Superbook Sports. Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in the sports betting world. And right now, if you use the promo code THEGAME, THEGAME, to score up to $250 with their best first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with the promo code THEGAME. Simply visit superbook.com for terms and conditions or download the Superbook Tennessee app in app stores. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Gear up for spring at Coleman Tractor Company with Kubota zero turns and subcompact tractors in stock now and ready to work. Mow, dig, haul, and lift with the Kubota BX23S tractor loader backhoe. Now through June 30th, save up to $2,500 on BX23S models. Visit Coleman Tractor in Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and White House today. Now through June 30th. See KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Whether you're popping the question or ready to say I do, there's only one true jeweler to shop for your one true love. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. As a true jeweler, we not only have luxury designer collections to meet your bridal needs, but we also have talented in-house designers who can create something truly one of a kind. For more than 75 years, our expert staff has been caring for couples just like you and providing the absolute lowest prices guaranteed. Visit us at the Diamond Cellar in Green Hills. The possibilities are endless.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day one of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Why'd you keep Craig Ackerman on the staff with the special teams issues this season?
Well, I think what special teams? What are you talking about? Let's look at these objectively and let's talk about it.
Punts that were returned throughout the course of the year, leading the league in those punts.
The punts that were returned against us or ones we returned?
Well, both, honestly.
Well, we were third in the league in the net punting. We were third in the National Football League in net punting. Third, 44 yards. So again, I'm happy to have this conversation, but our punter just set a record. And again, there were some long, flat punts that got returned, but when you look at it, third in the National Football League in net punting with the number of players that were on our punt team, and the number of gunners we went through is pretty good. Yep, we got to find guys. Rand, go find some returners that don't drop the ball. Because I'm with you. We went through a lot of returners. You have a vision of guys, okay? You asked me a question. I'm going to try to answer it. We're going to catch punts until our hands bleed or they get calloused, okay? But we had a vision, okay, that we draft Kyle. We saw what he did early in the season. First game, huge punt return. Man, we got and then he muffs one, okay? And then he gets injured and he's practicing and then we go to Buffalo, right? And whatever it was Robert and Amani. Like, I can relive this. I would rather not. We got to find somebody that we can trust back there. But I can't put that on Craig Aukerman when I see the amount of time that we spend catching punts. Like, we go through more jugs machines than anybody. Okay, I get it. We gotta make sure we take care of the ball. But I can't say that that's Craig Aukerman when I'm evaluating everything that we're doing.
We got to go get some returners this year because we can't do what we did last year. Who's returning punts at OTAs? Kyle Phillips, Mason Kinsey, the same guys. Can't kick, don't look for kickers. Can't punt return, don't look for punters. By the way, I brought up all the punts that got returned last year, and Vrabel, when we were third in the league in net punting, Craig Aukerman brought it up in his press conference the other day that, we didn't have enough fair catches last year, and we didn't have enough inside the 20, and we didn't, yeah, exactly. Caleb in Gallatin texts in and says, I agree about the special teams. I'm not sure how Vrabel isn't fed up with the special teams unit that the Titans have. Even when I see the Titans line up for a 35-yard field goal, I'm nervous instead of feeling like it should be automatic from that distance. Hell, I get nervous even for extra points, he writes. I agree. I agree. And it's so frustrating because it's like, again, let's go back to, that was January. And everybody in the room, when it ran, get us a returner, everybody in the room laughed. It's easy to laugh in January, but it is not going to be funny in September when you drop a freaking punt. It's not going to be funny when you play Jacksonville and they send Brandon McManus, who hasn't missed a kick between 40 and 49 yards, what you call the money zone, what you say is the most important thing. He hasn't missed a kick from there in 3 years, and Jacksonville's going to run him out there against you, and you're going to stick out that undrafted free agent out of Texas Tech and hope it works. That drives me crazy. I agree. And look, I like Vrabel. Just drives me nuts. I can't blame Craig Aukerman for the fact that we can't return punt. And I'll put it to you like this, too. I think back to the coaching staff. Because, again, we could never blame the special teams coach. Why did Keith Carter, the line coach, get fired? Was it his fault that Dennis Daly stunk? Was it his fault that Aaron Brewer's 270 pounds? That the Titans ignored the left guard spot and the right tackle spot? But he got fired. But then we can't blame the special teams coach for any of the special teams issues, and you can't go looking for a kicker, and you can't go looking for a punt returner. Texter said, we got to fire the special teams coach. The Titans used to have the best special teams play. I don't remember the Titans ever having the best special teams play. I'll take your word for it, but it was a lot better than it is now. Whew. Brad's up next here. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Brad?
Yeah, first of all, I think maybe Aukerman must have been sick when Vrabel had the Coach Speak 101 day, because those answers were absolutely ridiculous. It looked like he walked into the front of a boat bow. That was just – Paul twisted him up. But anyhow, I agree with you. But that's not why I called. Why I called is, you were talking earlier, and you hit the nail on the head about, we're going to have – 5 playmakers, to deal with in our offense, regardless of what we use. And I know we're going to start a new offense, and that's my question. How are they going to deploy our best playmakers? And then when I thought about it and looking at our best playmakers, I think we can all agree on 1, 2, and 3 is going to be Burks and Okonkwo and Henry. And then when I went to 4 and 5, I can't put a second receiver in the top 5, and that's what really, really scares me. So are we going to have an offense where we can run 2 running backs and 2 tight ends? Because I really think Wiley is probably number 5 over Phillips or Moore at this point. Hang up and listen.
So thank you for your call. I think what's going to happen, thank you for Brad, and I don't know this. I don't know what exactly the Titans are going to do. And I mean, I think it's going to be like it kind of was last year. And what drives me crazy is it's second down, it's 1st and 10, right? And Derrick Henry runs on the field, and Jeff Swaim runs on the field, and Nick Westbrook-Akina runs on the field, and Cody Hollister runs on the field. And you know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball. And so then it's 2nd down and 10, and Derrick Henry runs off the field, Jeff Swaim runs off the field, Cody Hollister runs off the field, and Austin Hooper, Chig Okonkwo, and Dontrell Hilliard run on the field. And it's like, you know what they're going to do. They're going to pass. So what I would like is for the Titans, when it's not third down, I think Tajay Spears needs to be in the game, but that in non-obvious passing situations, I want Henry, Burks, and Okonkwo on the field. Then the other 2 spots, the other 2 eligible receivers, I want to mix and match. So if I want to go 2 tight ends and I'm going to run the ball, put in, is it Trevon Wesco? Is that the guy's name? The new Jeff Swaim? Put him in there, to block. And if it's 2nd down, and what they used to do when they had Michael Pruitt is in running situations, they'd put Michael Pruitt in the game. They'd run a play-action pass, and Michael Pruitt would catch the ball 3 yards past the line of scrimmage and then go run 19 yards further because everybody thought they were going to run the ball. Nobody checked him. Like, I'd like to see some more of that. But if it's, 3rd down, if it's 3rd and 7, I would take Henry off the field. Again, I want Burks and Okonkwo on the field at all times. I want them to play almost every snap of that game. The way Jonnu Smith used to play every snap of the game, the way A.J. Brown used to play every snap of the game, the way Corey Davis used to play every snap of the game. Like, I want Burks, Okonkwo, and Okonkwo to play every snap of that game. And I would like them to add another receiver to play every snap of the game too. Phillips is going to be in the slot. I'm fine with that. Even though I'm not ready to say, well, last year he was injured, but he was going to be. I'm not ready for that. But I can live with it. But if they do what they did last year, where they're taking Okonkwo off the field to put in Trevon Wesco, then they're screwed. I mean, if they're taking Treylon Burks off the field to put on whoever this year's Cody Hollister is, then I'm not. I can't follow that. That's one of those, do that one on your own time. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. TD. His thoughts from OTAs, what he see, what he like, what he not like. We'll do that coming up next here on Stillman and Company. You can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every day. And our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use the promo code THEGAME. Be sure to join us for the 2nd annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Gary Force Acura, benefiting Souls for Souls on Wednesday, June 7th at the Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities to support a great cause and have loads of fun. If you want to support Souls for Souls but can't play golf with us, check out our silent auction items. Go to thegamenashville.com/golf for more info.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robbie and Rexroad.
Yeah, you take that. You take that. Take me 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say. And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Looking for an engagement ring that'll really knock her socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds.
It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you something nobody else can.
Genesis Vice President David Cooper.
The craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is bar none better than anything else.
Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from New York and California, with over 4,000 rings to choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly one of a kind.
We can custom craft you literally anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream you have. Things that other stores may call new, we've been doing for 3, 4, and even 5 years already.
So don't settle for a ring with a stale design or with inferior craftsmanship. Let Genesis help you get the look, the quality, and the value you deserve. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs, voted year after year best jewelry store in Nashville.
CMA Fest is happening in downtown Nashville, June 8th through 11th, with dozens of performances by many of today's hottest black country artists, including K. Michelle, Chapel Hart, the TSU Aristocrat Bands, Breland, and many more. Proceeds benefit the CMA Foundation and music education programs. Visit CMAfest.com for details.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Tuning into the baseball game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times? It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling while telling a customer to leave the room, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating and, of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
Now, your Game Center update.
Brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Another busy night of some playoff action is set for this Thursday. The Florida Panthers punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final last night. The Vegas Golden Knights will be looking to join them as they take on the Dallas Stars in Game 4 of the Western Conference Final. Stars captain Jamie Benn will miss the game, serving a 2-game suspension. Coverage of Vegas versus Dallas starts at 6:30. Following that, the Milwaukee Admirals, the AHL affiliate of the Nashville Predators, continue their quest for the Calder Cup as they begin the Western Conference Finals versus Coachella. On the hardwood, the Boston Celtics are looking to stay alive for another game versus the Miami Heat in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. ESPN radio coverage will join in progress after the conclusion of the Nashville Sounds. The Sounds once again host the Iowa Cubs at First Horizon Park. Coverage begins at 6:20 on 94.9 The Fan. This update brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Bay.
Stillman and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
1025 and 1063.
Crank City score. On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. TD is here. Teron Davenport for the TD Power Hour, as always, on a Thursday. TD, good to see you.
Oh, yeah, good to be seen. Got a little news. You know, Tajay Spears agreed to his rookie deal, so that's a positive note to start the show off on, the period, the hour.
I miss the old days when rookie signing contracts was a thing.
Yeah. The biggest one, I remember a holdout, Michael Crabtree's holdout, man. Ooh. He held out, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks into the season, the Texans game. I went and watched his first game, and I was really impressed. But I remember that holdout. Eugene Parker was his agent. Rest in peace, Eugene Parker. But, yeah, man, that holdouts used to be a thing.
It used to be a thing, and the rookies used to sign for real money and all kind of crazy stuff. Let's start with OTAs. What did you think with the open OTA that we were able to attend on Tuesday?
Yeah, well, one thing I saw, it seems like Will Levis and Mason Kinsey are developing a bit of a connection. That's something you saw them hook up a few times. Kyle Phillips, I know he had wanted to put some weight on. He's not noticeably bigger, but he said 7 pounds. He still seems just as quick. And I tell you, Tajay Spears, though, I'm impressed. I really like the way he catches the football and hits top speed very quickly. And he's going to really help this passing game. And I know a lot has been made about taking a running back in the 3rd round, but I think you have to not look at position and look at impact. He is a playmaker. And I think when you look at this offense, they are desperately in need of what? Playmakers. So they went out and got one. I think Spears is going to he's going to be one of those guys that I know a lot of the fans are going to really be jumping on once training camp opens up, and especially in this preseason. I think he's going to be someone. So, yeah, Tajay Spears,
Were
he
you
impressed me.
impressed by Spears with what he did at the very end of practice with the rookie stuff, or was it something before that?
It was overall. I can't say exactly how they were using him, but I really like what they're doing with him, and it's going to create some matchups. And he had a couple early catches. I'm talking about in team, not from Will Levis or Malik Willis. You know what I mean? So you got to see him get in the mix and really do some things just as far as quickly.
How am I
catching the
missing
football.
these?
Listen, like I said on Twitter.
I did not see this.
You, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and you guys are in the same, might be on the same vision plan. I don't know, but I tell you, it is very clear, and I'm not the only one that has seen that.
Sure.
There are multiple.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
who have.
I haven't seen any of this, and I'm even looking through my notes right now. I have one at the end. 17 complete to 32. Nothing special. There's nothing like. There's no other note.
Are you watching when he catches the football, turns upfield, and how quickly he accelerates?
I guess for me, because in a passing camp, there's no. It's like a guy catches the ball and then the runner turns up and runs, and then the offensive line runs with him, but like the defense doesn't pursue the runner. It's hard for me.
Have
to
you
see
noticed? Have you noticed the way he runs to the end zone every time he touches the football?
I have not noticed that, but isn't that something Vrabel teaches?
He's the only one that's doing that, so not necessarily. So I don't. You probably want to adjust and watch, because that's something that it's impossible. Like, it's not hard to miss that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He's running to the end zone every time, even if it's one of the ones where he takes a handoff and kind of, squirts through the offensive line, gets to the second level, plays blown dead. He's still sprinting to the end zone. Not always sprinting. I'm not going to give him that much credit. Running to the end zone.
So I'm not ruling out that the same thing's going to happen with Tajay Spears that happened for me with Chris Johnson, which was I didn't like the Chris Johnson pick when the Titans made it because they had Lindale White, who was a 1,000-yard back. They had drafted Chris Henry in the 2nd round the year before. Little did we know that he was terrible. But on like the first handoff that he got in the first preseason game, Chris Johnson goes right up the middle for like 65 yards. I'm like, I guess he's pretty good. And that may happen with Tajay Spears too.
Chris Henry ran too upright, man. It was, but yeah, anyway. Yeah.
Chris Henry just hit the bench press. Like, that was why they drafted him. It was like, he benched 47 times. Running back, sign him up. I digress, though. But it could be that, like, when they play real football, that automatically I'm like, okay, now I see what everybody else got it.
But there's some things you could see without it. Like, it doesn't take the defense trying to tackle him after he catches the ball to see him put his foot in the ground and go. And that's what he does. And then even so, you look at the first camp, I remember, our rookie mini camp, there were a couple times where, he made like a jump cut, and off of that jump cut, he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the type of things that you want to see if you're looking for big plays. And we know this team really, really, really struggled for big plays. So I could see him in a Dontrell Hilliard-like role, but even further developing into a bigger part of the offense, in future years. So I personally think he was worth the pick. I'm not one who looks at positions. I look at how can you impact the game, and I think he's going to be a really good impact from a third-round pick.
Well, I don't want to speak for you, but I think I can assume that we both thought that Hilliard should have been on the field with Henry more last year.
Yes, absolutely.
And when they did that to Washington, I thought it was really effective.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I expect Spears to be on the field more with Henry than what we probably would have seen if Todd Downing was running the offense.
Yeah, and you'll see him with Haskins too. And that's one of the things, right? You go back and you watch a lot of the
Haskins, by the way, had a nice run, where he cut the corner pretty and got around.
Yeah.
And
you watch Tim Kelly. I mean, they've used a lot of two backs. He had David Johnson and the other back. I forget the guy's name, but he had them. Then there were times where he used two tight ends. There are times this offense. Actually, Mike Herndon wrote a really solid post on Paul Kaharski's website. It's really good, just breaking down the offensive roots and things like that. And I will say this: what's really interesting is when you look at the Earnhardt Perkins offense, you're seeing. And it goes back to something I remember Vrabel has said. Coach Vrabel has said that he wanted to have somebody in here to make the terminology easier. And then he also said about playing fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this school of communication and calling plays, typically it's concepts, and it's one word. You know what I mean? So, like, there's a concept called ghost, to where you'll have the outside guy, he's running a go route, because he's getting ghosts, he's getting going,
Mm-hmm.
and then the number two is running it out. Or you have one ink, where it's, okay, you could check the ink, and that automatically means the outside guy is running a deep end breaking route, and the number two is running a curl, a comeback, that type of thing. So it makes it quicker to call the plays, and then you can also run tempo a little bit more, because you're just going to the line. And you'll love this. Tom Brady was one of the main parts of making this offense become as good as it did with the Patriots, because he'd go to the line, check, and call whatever the phrase is. So it's pretty cool how this offense is going to change. I definitely am going to watch install period a little bit more closely, because I want to see if they're doing any of that, because I don't remember them doing like quick tempo type of play calls. But it's going to be interesting watching it.
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because it is just a passing camp in May. The one thing that I did feel a little confident in was the way Tannehill was throwing the ball to Burks and Okonkwo reminded me of how he would throw the ball to Jonnu Smith, the way he would throw the ball to Adam Humphries, the way he would throw the ball to A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like a confident jump shooter, that when they take the shot, it's like you don't even have to watch the ball. You know it's going in.
Yeah.
And that's how it felt watching Tannehill deliver the ball in the team periods to Okonkwo and Burks. I mean, I think he's going to wear them out this year.
Yeah, and it's a matter of just taking what the defense gives you and going where your reads take you, and that's something that Tannehill has always done well. I remember Rob Moore said that as the receivers as a room, they really like Tannehill because he doesn't throw to the number, he throws to the open person. So as you get open, you're going to get the football. And I think that's going to be a good thing in this offense, because you're going to see a little bit more spread out, multiple. And that's the other thing I really like about Tim Kelly's offense, how, the roots of the Earnhardt-Perkins roots is, especially with Brady and what they did in New England, you could run the same play out of so many different formations.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be really good because it allows you to give different looks. And you don't have to have a playbook that's 400 pages deep. You could condense it, but you could do multiple things, because no matter what the concept is, you're going, this concept on this side, this concept on that side. And it's real easy to go back and forth and call it. So it's going to be fun watching it.
Now, it was tough for Derek Carr to learn how to run that last year with the Raiders. They struggled with that.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there'll be a little of that for Tannehill.
Tannehill, in my opinion, is much more advanced than Derek Carr.
I think that too, but then everybody outside of Nashville seems to think that.
Hey, they could think it.
They hate your people, ESPN. They hate Tannehill.
Hey,
Worst offseason according to Bill Barnwell because they kept Tannehill and Henry.
I don't know how you could have a bad offseason keeping a 1,500-yard rusher, but, I mean, that's a
615-737-1025. We'll hit your questions for TD at the end of the hour, as we always do. What is the latest with Kevin Byard and the Titans? TD, we will discuss that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-1063. The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks, while I have your attention, that let me tell you that our best deal of the week is Beach Bend Park and Splash Lagoon Water Park. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals for a buy one, get one free admission for just $49.99. Beach Bend Park is your ticket to summer fun. Beach Bend Park and Splash Lagoon Water Park, just a short drive to Bowling Green, Kentucky.
It's almost time for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Gary Force Acura and benefiting our friends at Souls for Souls. Join us on June 7th at the President's Reserve at Hermitage Golf Course.
You can put a team together to play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs like me.
It's going to be awesome. And for a great cause, you'll have a chance to win great prizes.
Sign up to play, sponsor, or simply donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you looking to take ownership in a position that will support your growth and development? We are an excavation and site utilities contractor. Several things set us apart from our competition, but we take the most pride in the professional development of our people. We have multiple openings for operators, pipe layers, and laborers. Our pay and benefits are second to none, including our 401k program. Apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC. Build people, move dirt.
Now through Memorial Day, get fantastic deals at Electronic Express. Get an LG 75-inch 4K TV for just $699 or a Frigidaire 4-piece kitchen package for $21.99. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture and mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an Acer gaming monitor for just $129 or an HP 14-inch laptop for only $199. Get up to 3 years free financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
KB's always been a guy with such high buy-in to what you're trying to do here. And how concerning
is it to you when that guy, isn't here right now?
No, I mean, there's been years where KB hasn't been here. You know what I mean? I know KB's working hard, and we're staying in contact with him, and, book meets with him on Zoom and get the installation. And, I mean, if we're concerned about KB and his level of fitness and commitment, that's not a concern. I mean, he has a family, and he's an established player, and we would want them all here, but it's voluntary. And told these guys, there were years where I didn't go to New England, and communicate, and he's communicated, and so I'm very, very confident that when KB comes back, he'll be in shape and he'll be ready to go, and he'll know what to do, and he'll be the same great teammate that he always is.
Let me tell you, TD, I'm confident of that too. That I believe when Kevin Byard shows up, he'll be in shape, he'll be ready to play, he'll be a good teammate, he'll be a good leader, and I know that because he's been that way, I don't know, every day over the last 7 years. But given the offseason, TD, what do we think about Kevin Byard not being at OTAs?
I mean, it's definitely something it's gonna raise eyebrows, him not being there, but again, it is voluntary. Now, I don't recall not seeing Byard at any OTAs in the time that I've been here. But, I mean, if it is his first, it's his first. But the one thing that we do know, and Coach Vrabel said it, when it's time to lace him up, strap up your shoulder pads, and put the helmet on and do what you got to do, he's going to be one of the guys that's going to lead that team. So I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in it. There have been conversations with more than just Coach Vrabel, and there aren't hard feelings for what I understand. So I don't think it's as big of an issue as it could be, as far as you have a player rejecting the pay cut and having ill feelings and acting immature and things like that. I don't believe you have to worry about that with Kevin Byard. And even as Coach Vrabel said, and even Jeffrey Simmons echoed it, there are conversations. He's in the group chat with the DBs. He's in Zoom with Scott Booker, the safeties coach, right? Those things are happening. And you also have to remember, and I thought Simmons said it very well when he said that the leadership that Kevin Byard has goes beyond just the football field. Do you want him there? Absolutely. But is it a huge crutch? I don't think so.
So you're saying no hard feelings between the Titans asking Byard to take a pay cut, Byard's refusal to take a pay cut, and normally, and you and I both know this, when a team asks you to take a pay cut and you say no, normally it's take a pay cut or you're going to get cut or traded or something, and obviously that's not going to happen here.
Right.
So is it as simple as they asked him to take a pay cut, he said no, Titan said okay, he says okay, no hard feelings?
It's been smoothed over. It's been smoothed over. I don't think there's any – I mean, what I was told was meetings were positive. Interaction has been positive.
Here's where I have a hard time with this, is that he was training at Lipscomb that day, and Lipscomb is 15 minutes away from the facility. And I know this because I used to live over by Lipscomb. And so it's like, would you do that when he has said in the past, I'm here because the young guys, need to see how we operate. And, the young guys are still young. If that hasn't changed, if there's no hard feelings, then I really would wonder why Byard's not there.
But how do you know there's not a family commitment or something like that? Because that's something that Vrabel mentioned too. Guys have family commitments. Like maybe there's something that did not permit him to be there those couple days. I don't know. I mean, and obviously you have the other parts of the offseason that he wasn't there. So the family commitment wouldn't cover every bit of him not being there if he, in fact, wasn't there. Because we don't know. No one's saying, hey, I haven't seen KB this whole summer. Or this whole spring. No one's saying that.
Sure.
So we don't know when he has or hasn't been there. I mean, for all we know, he could have been flowing into the building like a guy like Caleb Farley, Dylan Radins caught a lot of flack because attendance showed that he wasn't there. But guess what? The week before, I saw him because you're walking in and you could, if the guys do a little bit of extra stuff, you could see them a little bit from as you're walking in. You could see them over by the fence where
You're
the
talking
corner
about
is.
Tuesday ratings wasn't there?
He wasn't on the field.
Well, yeah, but he's hurt.
But he's been there.
Sure.
So, I mean, that doesn't mean because you didn't see him on the field, that doesn't mean he hasn't been in the building. That's long story.
Well, I don't. The hurt guys, I expect to be, in the building, getting the whatever, doing the rehab.
But there are guys who weren't hurt that have been in the building too.
Sure. Well, it's like the Christian Fulton thing, right? Because you reported that he went down to Florida to go work with a trainer who, specializes in guys who are coming off of hamstring injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think that's a really good thing for Christian Fulton. And so I'm not going to dog Christian Fulton for missing OTAs when I know, okay, this is where he is and this is why he's there.
Right.
That I'm fine with. I'm not mad at Byard for not being there if Byard's upset with the team because he felt disrespected by them asking him to take a pay cut. If Byard just wasn't there because he didn't want to be there, which he doesn't have to be there because it is voluntary, but if that's why Byard wasn't there, then I'm a little bit, probably a little surprised given the thing. Kevin Byard's always been the guy who has had to tell
everybody. He's the all-in guy, yeah.
He's always been the one that has to get up there and say, well, it's voluntary for all the guys that aren't here, but it's important for me to be here today. And so then I have more questions probably if there isn't an issue, and that's why KB's not there.
If he's there May 31st, when we take roll and get to see them again, all of this does what? Out the window.
It does, but the one thing that I tell myself about all this is how many times were we told both, on the record and behind the scenes, hey, they're not going to trade A.J. Brown. I mean, no matter what.
Well, that's an extenuating circumstance. We know some things happen with that just it put it, and that's a different regime, and it's
sure.
I mean, we could all go extremes. You know what I mean? It could go to extremes in any given walk of life. But on the norm, when you have a coach say that, that's exactly how it works
sure.
on the norm. But I mean, I don't think Byard. What do? You trade him now?
No, I don't know what
I mean?
they would do with Byard.
Exactly.
I don't know what
you release him now.
That would be what it would have to be if they were going to do something. And then I still think I'm kind of wondering, what were they thinking when they asked him to take a pay cut?
I mean, his contract was apparently one of the ones that was able to do it. And who knows? Maybe there was a move that they wanted to make, and they saw an opportunity there to. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I think when you look at a guy like Kevin Byard, his cap hit. So we're looking at it is 19.6 this year. They're not going to release him. It's 13.6 if they release him, and they're not going to. Do that. So I think, end of the day, it was something they asked. He said no, and here we are. But that could all be resolved by him coming out. And Byard is very forthcoming
sure.
with his quotes when he speaks. All of this could just be pushed aside when we speak to him next week if he's there.
The one thing I will say about the money situation, because that I'm a salary cap truther. And so I do not believe in that cap. I look at that and I say, okay, if the cap number's too high, well, I can change the cap number without him taking a pay cut. And also when it comes to releasing him, if I was if I own the team, if I was up against, the actual budget, then I would look at it and say, well, I know it's $13 million in dead money against the cap, but it's $13 million or whatever it is, the base salary that gets to stay right in my pocket. And so it doesn't seem like the Titans are going to do that either. So I wonder, if you asked him to take a pay cut, it was to free up, a couple extra $1 million. But why would you do that when your payroll is not super high right now? And you can just manipulate the number and get that cap space to go get somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because, you look, last year, he converted almost $11 million of his salary into bonus money. And then, you tacked on the void years in 2025 and 2026. It freed up $8-9 million. I don't know. I don't know.
It reminds me of him talking
process
about how if I have to redo my contract again like I did for Clowney, I'll do that. I think it was for Landry he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I think about that, about him saying, if I have to, I will. It's like, dude, all they did was give you your money up front. That's not like that's not like, wow, you really sacrificed for the team right there to get your money up front as opposed to get it in 16 weekly, 17 weekly installments. 615-737-1025. The receiver position. Tim Kelly says the Titans are good there. TD gives us his thoughts, what they could do, what we should keep an eye on. We'll do that next. Stillman and company. Hey, be sure to tune into Sounds Baseball tonight at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the Iowa Cubs. That's right. The AAA affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. And Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan is presented by 312 Pizza, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people picked them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's Family Leisure's Memorial Day sale.
So get your family swimming now. DIY pools start at just $19.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99. Installed with 6 months, same as cash.
Over 450 different packages to choose from. Guaranteed below internet prices.
Family Leisure has great prices on spas and hot tubs in stock and ready for immediate delivery. The Cypress Spa by Strong is only $29.99. Family Leisure has the one you want at guaranteed low prices.
I want to be in some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has hundreds of sets from all the best brands on sale at guaranteed low prices. And right now, free delivery.
I want to check out the new grills and grill islands. The Sabre infrared grill starts at only $11.99. Complete bull grill islands start at only $39.99. Installed on your patio with a Sabre grill. Tanning beds, pool tables, massage chairs, and more. On sale now at Family Leisure's 31st Memorial Day sale.
That's Family Leisure. 2 huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
How can a half-carat diamond magically grow into a 2-carat diamond? With Genesis Diamond's 110% diamond upgrade guarantee.
Our trade-up policy is the best in the United States.
That's Stasia at Genesis, explaining how if you buy a diamond today and want to trade it in for a bigger one next year, Genesis always gives you back your original purchase price plus an extra 10%.
We will gladly give you every single penny you paid for the diamond plus an extra 10%, which is amazing. No one does that.
As a real-life example, take Stasia's customer Paul.
When he first started, he got a half-carat, and then as he became more successful, we rewarded him. He came in and he got a 3/4 carat, and then he's traded for a carat. I'm sure I'll see him this year for a carat and a half. As they grow and change and become more successful, their engagement ring can grow with them also.
And there's no catch, no minimum trade-up requirement, and it works on diamond studs and diamond pendants as well.
You get every single investment dollar you put into the diamond, you will get an extra 10% towards the new diamond.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You can trade as many times as you wish.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report is in, and the Pella Windows and Doors brand is #1 for the most trusted, most often recommended by others, and highest quality. Nashville area homeowners are very lucky because Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of the top locations in the country. They provide award-winning excellence when it comes to craftsmanship and installation. If you need new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Does this sound familiar? Did your agent provide excellent entertainment with their TikTok videos and constant social media posts about themselves while completely ignoring that you hired them to sell your home? Did they tell you how wonderful they were? How many followers they had? They probably never sold your home, but hey, they did get 15 likes on their selfies. Hashtag my clients love me. Don't let that happen to you. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why the only likes we care about are our clients loving our service. Ask us about our prepay with TJ option and how it can save you thousands. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
95.9
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, the Sounds continue their 6-game series against Iowa at First Horizon Park.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pregame at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, Nashville. This is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You have enough at receiver?
Because I've seen these guys play. I've seen these guys make plays in big games. You want to talk about Nick Westbrook, you can go watch the Washington Redskins or the Commanders film, last year when he went up and made a huge play for us. You want to talk about Kyle Phillips, you can go and watch the New York Giants film when he caught a play or blow out at the end of the 2-minute drive to put us in position to win the game. You want to talk about Traylon Burks, you can go ahead and watch the Cincinnati Bengals game when he went up over the top on that deep ball. I mean, there's examples. You can turn on the Cowboys game and go watch Racy. You can watch all the catches that Chris had. There's enough examples of all these guys making plays at this level. It's just our job to make sure that we can get them to do it consistently.
Tim Kelly Tuesday, on the wide receivers. TD's with us for the TD Power Hour. Now, look, Tim Kelly's not going to get up there when I ask, do you have enough at receiver? And he's not going to say no. Like, he's not going to say, they've done a terrible job getting me wide receivers, and I don't know who we're going to throw the ball to. But I did not like the answer of why he felt comfortable. I looked at it, and I was like, that's the best you got? Is watch the Dallas Cowboys game and watch Racey McMath make one catch, and that's the best we got? Like, that's the best answer he had back?
Well, all he could do is point to the things that gives him, because he was asked, why does he have confidence in the receivers, right? Somebody asked me why I have confidence in something, I'm going to point to the things that made me have the confidence. Now, obviously, I forgot he even said it at the end, because the whole time I'm thinking, okay, look, this is great, but you need to do it consistently. And he said at the end, our job as coaches is to get them to do it consistently. And that's the main thing. As a coach, you're looking at this like, okay, I saw Burks beat Jair Alexander deep. I know he could do it. I got to find a way to pull that out of him more consistently, more often.
And I
think that's what he's
Burks.
saying.
Like, I will give you. I think Burks has real big time talent.
Yeah, but even Westbrook and Kenny, right? Like, he had the big play against the Commander. Now, of course, that was on like a trick play, wasn't it?
No, that was Denver. The Commanders was Tannehill broke a sack and just fired
threw
a 50-50
and he
ball
just ran
deep,
down.
and he jumped up and caught it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so with that, I mean, like even that, that shows you, he could do it. Let's see if there's a way we could get him to do it more often. I didn't take as much offense to that as a lot of people did, because I was looking at it differently, right? I was looking at it from the coach perspective, you know what I mean, where it's like, and just having coaches tell me, man, I saw you do it against Kutztown, man. You got to be able to, I want you to do, look, we got Bloomsburg next week. We're going to, let's do it. You know what I mean? You can play. I need to pull this out of you. I know you could do it. That's the way I saw it. You know what I mean? So it's just a different perspective. I didn't take offense to it.
Now, Tim Kelly on the record, when asked, do you think you have enough at receiver? He's never going to say no.
Right.
I think we can agree on that. Do you think the sentiment in that building is that they have enough at receiver, or do you think they know kind of how I feel, and I think a lot of Titan fans feel, which is they need more?
They know that group is not something that they could just roll out there every week and it's going to be fine. That's why they're working so hard to scheme things and do all that stuff. And that's why they're taking it upon themselves to find a way to get them to play more. They know, right? They know you don't have, Andre Reed and James Lofton and Don Beebe. I'm giving my little bias. I always loved Andre Reed and James Lofton.
K-Gun?
Yeah, every time I see James Lofton at practice, I geek a little bit. So excuse me. But they know that they don't have that, right? They know they don't have Rob Moore and Frank Sanders. From back in the day. They know they don't have that big-time tandem, but there's a lot of teams that don't have it. So what do you have to do? You have to figure out ways to find other options for you to score the football, to be efficient in the passing game. And I think that's where Chigakonkwo comes in. That's where a Josh Wiley comes in. That's where a Tyjae Spears comes in. That's where even Haskins has shown that he could catch the ball out of the back. You have to find other ways. And I will say this, we talk about this receiver group over and over again. Kyle Phillips, in my opinion, is I'll say it, I think he leads the team in receptions, not yards, but I think he has the most receptions on this team this year.
I want to be able to feel that way, but for Phillips, for some reason, I just need to see him stay healthy, you know?
Well,
and I'm a little worried about that with Burks. Like, I was thinking when you said that, okay, you know, who would lead the team in receptions? I'm going to say Chigakonkwo because I think he's going to – I know he's going to ring the bell every week. Because last year, he rang the bell every week. Now, knock on wood, you know, Delaney Walker rang the bell every week for 6 years, and then all of a sudden against the Dolphins, cracked his ankle.
I mean, it was a freak thing. But if you look at Phillips, and this is something that I think the guy had a shoulder and he had a hamstring, right? It has nothing to do with his size.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with him being injury prone. The shoulder, the way he fell, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't care if that was David Boston, who is one of the most diesel receivers ever.
That's a throwback.
He would have had the injured shoulder also. The hamstring, I mean, if you're twitchy, the hamstring comes.
Mm-hmm.
So those are injuries. Like, I'm not going to call Phillips injury prone because of those two injuries. I'm not going to do it.
So you're not worried about the injuries?
No.
Because, like, even for Burks, and I do think Burks doesn't look like somebody that went on a diet and all of a sudden, you know, he's not Jared from Subway holding his pants up, but he does look
his body
stronger
is,
and leaner,
yes.
and so I think that's going to help Burks stay on the field this year, even though, like, his turf toe probably wasn't due to his shape. I just think it's all kind of mixed in there together. With Phillips, it's like, I agree with you. Those were freak injuries, but I'm still worried about it, and I'm still a little worried about it with Burks too.
I mean, I don't think Phillips' injuries were freak injuries. Those are injuries that happen. Like,
sure.
It's
football.
This is a physical sport, you know, but it's also a part of it. I don't think that Phillips is injury prone. I think the way he's operating in the middle of the field. So, you know, you're in the shark-infested waters. So he's going to have to make sure he knows to acknowledge the journey's over and get down. Sometimes you got to do that. You know what I mean? Jerry Rice used to do that all the time, catching those slants. There were multiple times I remember Darren Woodson trying to decapitate him, and he'd fall, and Darren Woodson flies over him, and you see him get up and laugh. You know what I mean? Live to see another play, so to speak. But I think with Burks also, the big thing is the different approach. And I turned to Ben Arthur when we were over, because I went over during special teams. I went over and watched he and Coach Rob Moore, what they were doing. And I turned to Ben Arthur. I was like, man, he's built like a deer now. Like, it's all lean. He looks like he's very well put together.
Talking about Phillips or Burks?
Burks. And I think, you know, that work that he put in, and a lot of times, like, you know, injuries, you make mistakes when you're fatigued, for sure. But injuries can come when you're fatigued, too.
Absolutely.
So him being able to be in better shape.
That's the biggest fear of a guy being out of shape is they show up for training camp and then they get hurt.
Right. Trying to overexert. And so I think Burks is I don't think the injury situation is going to be bad for either of those guys.
Derek said today he thinks that if Burks doesn't get hurt, that Burks will become a star. I agree with him.
I could see that.
To me, he's got star talent, and I think, and I go back to that Paul Kaharski story that came out yesterday about Burks, you know, being stuck in Arkansas with no ability to fly home and no way to get a rental car, and he ends up flying this tiny little prop plane back at 5 a.m. And shows up because he didn't want to miss the first day of OTAs, and to me, that tells me he's got the dedication.
He's setting a tone. That's called carrying on the tone that he's already set.
Now, you saw that picture of him with that plane, right? You think if Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel knew he was going to fly that to get to OTAs, they would have told him, no, you stay. You wait for the next flight.
They may have called Miss Amy, hey, can you send the jet?
You stay because we don't want you flying on that plane. TD, we'll answer your questions. Get your questions in for TD right now on the Titan. 615-737-1025. As always, we hit those at the end of the hour, the TD Power Hour. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a new whole home water filtration for just $59 a month, or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heatwave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book. I, of course, been using Hiller at my home for years. I absolutely love them. Their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free guarantee, and they are proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's almost time for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, presented by Gary Force Acura and benefiting our friends at Souls for Souls.
Join us on June 7th at the President's Reserve at Hermitage Golf Course.
You can put a team together to play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities.
Like Jared Stillman.
Like Derek Mason.
It's going to be awesome, and it's going to be for a great cause, and you'll have a chance to win great prizes.
Sign up to play, sponsor, or simply donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for our huge Memorial Weekend trade-in and savings event. This Memorial holiday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus trade-in towards the purchase of any new clubs, including all the top brands. Save big on apparel. The more you spend, the more you save. All these great deals and more happening this Memorial Day weekend at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at edwinwattsgolfshops.com.
Seems like everything costs more these days. Food, utilities, medical costs, you name it. But as prices go up, our family budget stays the same. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available. Start saving today at fbhp.com or visit your local Farm Bureau office.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
312 Pizza Company is your spot for the best Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. From thin crust pizza to deep dish pizza to Italian beef sandwiches and Chicago dogs. Doesn't get much better than that. Until now. 312 Pizza Company is now serving up their award-winning pizza by the slice. All day, every day. Don't have time to wait for a full pie? No problem. Get a slice instead. Order a full pie but want a little more? Add another slice. Do it. Honestly, just go get a slice. 312 Pizza Company. Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria. Go get a slice.
Insightful discussion.
When we talk about the person that these players are.
3 goals scored in the first 5 minutes.
He wants to be the starter, day one.
Mixed with spirited debate.
Okay, but Derek, Professor Derek.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
We got the whole thing covered. We got it all covered.
Here.
Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
TD Power Hour, Teron Davenport with us. As always, time to answer your Titan questions. Let's go right to your phones. And your phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Kenston is going to kick us off here. Kinston, you're on with TD. Go ahead.
What's going on, fellas? What's happening, TD? Question for you. Everybody seems to be focusing around, this receiving position and lack thereof, but I kind of look at a macro view of the offense, and I see explosive playmakers outside of just the receiving position, right? You're upgrading from Austin Hooper to Chig Okonkwo in a full-time role. You're going for full-time Traylon Burks. You saw what Kyle Phillips had the punch that he was able to hold on. He was the best punt returner since Pac-Man Jones. And so you talk, and then you added one of the most explosive running backs in the draft. So maybe that wide receiver 2 role may be lacking, but the explosive players on the offense, not to mention you got the most explosive running back in the league still. So just wondered what your ideas would be about that, guys, about how maybe this offense in the fall could surprise by having more explosive players that people think as a whole instead of focusing on wide receiver 2. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kinston.
What's up, Kinston? And that was a great call. I kept shaking my head in agreement because it's funny you say that because that's literally when I first came in the room what Jarrett and I were talking about. And I was saying, listen, Tyjae Spears is going to give you explosive plays. That's the more that you could find there, the better. And when you look at the wide receiver 2 position, as you mentioned, it probably won't give you a lot of explosive plays, but there are other ways that you go about getting those. And Chig Okonkwo, he mentioned him. Can you name a tight end that had more 40-yard receptions than Chig last year?
There is not one, is there?
Bingo. So here's the deal. Quietly, you have some explosives on there, and then getting Traylon Burks, that Bengals and Packers and Bengals back-to-back, he had 3 receptions of 40 yards or more.
He arrived.
2 in that one.
In those 2 games, he was – and remember, he made the one catch in the Philly game with 25-yard touchdown and got decapitated and still held on to the ball.
And held on to it. But you talk about the explosives.
Sure.
Like, he will give you those. So I think there will be ways to find them. I mean, would I sit here and be like, hey, man, that offense is going to be good without a doubt? Heck no. But we'll see what happens.
I'm trying to kind of temper my optimism for Chig Okonkwo because I just don't want to do this of, this guy, he's going to be so good, and yet I do think there's a chance that Chig Okonkwo by this time next year is a top 5 tight end in the NFL.
It's possible.
I mean, he's got the big play in him, and the thing I've learned about these young guys is when they have the big play in them, they kind of always keep that, but then they become more consistent. AJ was big on big plays as a rookie. There was just big play after big play for A.J. Brown. Now, Byard had all of his receptions in year 2, but he was always in on the ball making big plays. And then that guy becomes more consistent. And that's how I feel about Chig Okonkwo. But I also don't want to, start sitting here telling everybody, I think there's a chance he's going to be a top 5 tight end in the league because
there's steps to it. He still has steps he has to take.
Mike's up next here on the program. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, guys, thanks. So I have 2 questions. The first question is I don't see anybody talking or being concerned about the linebacking group that the Titans have. Maybe that we're as confident. You guys can speak on the confidence that they have in the team, but I just see one injury away from being in a horrible spot with the linebacking group. And then, TD, I value your opinion on this question, and it's outside of the football realm, so I apologize. But the Spurs, my favorite basketball team, won the lottery, and I had the opportunity to draft Wembanyama. What do you do when you get a chance to draft a guy like that who has been hyped up as some said the best athlete since LeBron, all the hype and it's been there. Like, what are you doing with the guy when you get a chance to draft him? Like, what's your process in handling a guy of that potential talent?
Yep, thank you for the call, Mike.
I think, there isn't a better place he could have gone than with Greg Popovich. You're talking about one of the best coaches ever. So what do? You get him in, you sit him down, you figure out, what he does best, and you build around it.
I would say you put him on the floor and you let him be him.
Yeah, and you build around it, and you find complementary players. I think that's the bottom line there with him.
By the way, I think this Wembanyama is going to be incredible.
I want to see. I just you're going against grown men, man, and I want to see how he's going to be.
7'5" with
and
an
I understand that, but you know, how is he going to act when one of those guys like PJ Tucker gives him that shoulder to the chest? How is he going to respond to that?
Does PJ Tucker even come up to the chest on Wembanyama?
He could reach up and do it, but you get the point. So that's what I want to see.
It'd be like
how
cheerleading,
that works.
where like
because
one of the guys,
it's a different ball game when you're playing. When you're playing with grown men and that physical behind NBA, it changes a little bit.
So when they want to fight with Wembanyama, like if Charles Barkley at 6'4" wanted to fight with Wembanyama, somebody would have to get down like a cheerleader, you know, like when they do the pyramids, and then Charles would have to climb up on that person to try to fight Wembanyama.
I mean, Charles Barkley was able to dunk. I'm talking about 10-foot rims, so I'm sure he could reach up to 7 foot, and you know. But
Charles Barkley could ball.
to keep it rolling though, that the linebacker thing is interesting. Aziz Al-Shire, I think Aziz is a solid player. Watched him. He's a complete player. But Mike is right. An injury to Monty Rice, who we know has had some struggles with injuries. Now you got Chance Campbell, Dr. Jack Gibbons, and these guys I think are solid players, but there's, you know, it's not the same. And now, you know, you bring those guys in, and it's like, okay, we get it back out of the backfield that we got to cover. We might be in a little trouble. So I think that's the issue there. He's right about the linebacking core.
Ryan in Nashville says, TD, are you 100% confident that Kevin Byard will be playing for the Titans come week 1?
No, I won't say 100% confident, but I would go 85 at least. I think he'll be playing for him because it would be ridiculous to release him and trading him. You're not going to get the compensation. So I would say very likely 85%.
Chris in Nashville says, what is your prediction for the Titans starting offensive line?
Well, I think it's Andre Dillard, Peter Skoronski, Aaron Brewer, Daniel Brunskill, and Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. I think that's what you're going to see.
Do you feel like, again, it's a passing camp with no pads on, and Arden Key went right around Andre Dillard, you know, for what would have been a sack on Tannehill.
Yeah.
You know, if we see that, do you think we'll see Skoronski move out to left tackle some?
If it's just terrible, I could see that. But I think, you know, give and take. You're going to have plays where you get beat. You're going to have plays where you beat the other guy. So if it's happened consistently, I could see, you know, them bumping and maybe flipping Dillard into left guard, bumping him inside, or, I mean, you know, Jamarco Jones at some point.
Was he out there?
Yeah, he was. I'm
shocked that guy's still on the team.
He was getting you know, some work, some side work done. So, but he was out there.
Question is, TD, what are your thoughts about the Titans playing Elijah Molden at safety?
Well, you know, that's one of the benefits of talking with TD. If you listen to that the year that he was coming out, you would have known that he was very comfortable playing the safety position because we had him on with a few of his teammates. But I like it. I felt that, you know, the versatility was a big thing for him. You know, I thought it was a buy one, get one free situation because he could play safety. He could play the nickel. I like it, and some people will say the size. It doesn't matter. I mean, you look at guys like Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, who converted from corner to safety, and they did a really good job. And there's a lot of them. The list goes on and on, guys who converted from corner to safety. I don't think it's going to be a permanent thing, but it is a really good way to get him out there a little bit more.
Texture says, TD, what are the ESPN meetings like when all anybody at ESPN wants to do is say how the Titans need to move on from Ryan Tannehill?
Well, first off, that's not all anybody at ESPN wants to say. There are some who believe, like Dan Orlovsky, feels that Tannehill is a really good quarterback. I mean, the meetings generally, it's not all about.
I'm going to guess the meetings at ESPN are probably more just like, now when you open this app, you'll need to log in with the security code.
No, it's not team specific. It's about, you know, finding ways to tell better stories and just the directions that, you know, the coverage is going to go from year to year. That's really what it's about.
I do wonder though, like, and I just think because ESPN is kind of the chief of sports media, it's really just the national perception of Tannehill. I do wonder how it got to be what it is. I mean, I know he threw the 3 interceptions in the Bengals game.
That's really what it was.
But they weren't talking about him like that after the Bengals game. They're talking about him like that this offseason. I thought he had a good year last year.
They were talking about him like that after the Bengals game. But it was known that you couldn't move on.
Sure.
Now this offseason, hey, you know what? There's a possibility you can move on. And so now you're seeing it ramped up a lot.
When Zach asks thoughts on Jalen Duncan and Colton Dowell.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're not really going to get much on offensive line right now. You see him rotating in. He still he looks nice and lean. That's a good thing. Colton Dowell, again, I like how he's shown that he's willing and able to catch the ball with his hands.
Does he not look like Khalif Raymond out there?
No, Khalif is like half his size.
I'm telling you, when I saw him at rookie minicamp, I thought I was looking at Khalif Raymond, number 14, running around there on the field.
How?
I don't know. I felt
Khalif
like
is like 5'9". Colton Dowell is 6'3".
Is Colton Dowell 6'3"?
Yeah, maybe you stretch Khalif out a little, or what it could be. Also, they both have the hair.
I think it is the hair.
Out of that might be it.
Khalif Raymond. Let's see. He's listed at 5'8". Colton Dowell is not 5'8".
No, he's 6'3".
That I can tell you. TD, speaking of talking with TD, what's on Talking with TD this week?
Yeah, we got Ben Arthur. We went back over what we saw at OTAs and Run TMC with Chris Sanders. That's what we did, man. Just talking shop.
There you go. Talking with TD. Download it. Listen to it on Saturday morning. So much to get into OTAs next week, in which TD will be with us. TD, always good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Coming up next, we'll take a Titans breather because we've been on the Titans all week. Titans. We'll take a Titans breather. Elliot Friedman's weekly update on are the Predators going to fire the coach? And one little nugget that he left in there that I don't think he realized what he said. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And let me go ahead and tell all the fine folks out there while I have your attention that we've got a great giveaway. As far as Dave Matthews is concerned, we got a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Dave Matthews at Bridgestone Arena on Friday, May 26th, courtesy of Green Trees Company Dispensary, providing high-quality legal THC products. Text in the keyword BAND, B-A-N-D, now to the game text line at 615-737-1025 to enter to win. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The NFL offseason is in full swing, but you'll never miss any of the big news. Thanks to Yahoo's Charles Robinson.
They know that there's a chance that they're going to have to deal this guy.
He's one of the best insiders there is.
All of a sudden, he becomes a functional player who we thought was just trash.
Join Charles Robinson every Thursday morning at 8 on Robbie and Rex Road, presented by the NFL Alumni Association on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Have you ever heard that phrase, less is more? Well, at Harbor Freight, we're all about more for less because we know you like to do stuff, to make stuff, to improve stuff. That's why everything in our stores, from miter saws to tool chests to cordless impact wrenches, is priced affordably. So get out there and drill, paint, and saw to your heart's content. We just ask that whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Spring. It's a season full of new life and new opportunities to celebrate. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. From weddings and anniversaries to new babies and graduations, plus everything in between, there's no better place to discover the perfect gift for every occasion than the Diamond Cellar. As a true jeweler, we not only curate the finest selection of luxury jewelry from world-class designers, but we can also create something truly one-of-a-kind just for you. Visit the Diamond Cellar in Green Hills or online at diamondcellar.com.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Music City will be rocking June 23rd through the 25th with a different sound. The sound of NASCAR.
Start your engine!
The Ally 400 is back at Nashville Superspeedway, and this year, it's a night race. NASCAR in Nashville. It's guitars and fast cars under the lights. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets for the triple header weekend, including the Ally 400, Tennessee Lottery 250, and the Rackley Roofing 200 today.
Now, your Game Center update.
Brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Another busy night of some playoff action is set for this Thursday. The Florida Panthers punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final last night. The Vegas Golden Knights will be looking to join them as they take on the Dallas Stars in Game 4 of the Western Conference Final. Stars captain Jamie Benn will miss the game, serving a 2-game suspension. Coverage of Vegas versus Dallas starts at 6:30. Following that, the Milwaukee Admirals, the AHL affiliate of the Nashville Predators, continue their quest for the Calder Cup as they begin the Western Conference Finals versus Coachella. On the hardwood, the Boston Celtics are looking to stay alive for another game versus the Miami Heat in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. ESPN radio coverage will join in progress after the conclusion of the Nashville Sounds. The Sounds once again host the Iowa Cubs at First Horizon Park. Coverage begins at 6:20 on 94.9 The Fan. This update brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. You had a couple of big plays.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Just like every Thursday, we have the TD Power Hour. Every Thursday, Caroline asks Elliot Friedman whether or not the Predators are going to fire John Hines, although she does it in a much nicer way than the bluntness with which I just put it. But that literally does happen every Thursday as we continue to wait for the white smoke to appear at 501 Broadway as to whether or not the Predators are going to keep the coach. And every week that we go, the more I think there's a chance he's out. And then I start to think maybe he comes back because they haven't done anything. Elliot Friedman today on the Midday Show, when Caroline asked for an update, here's what Elliot said.
I think, Caroline, we're going to know one way or the other pretty soon. I don't know if it'll be before the weekend. I know it's a long weekend in the States. I don't know if it'll be before that, but I think we're going to have our answer one way or the other. I do think the Predators have at least looked into some things. I think it would be wrong of me to say I know the answer one way or the other because I don't. But I think they've looked at some things, and I think we're going to get an answer one way or the other pretty soon.
Okay, so he said he doesn't know if it'll be by the weekend, but that means that if it's not the weekend, like we're going to have an answer on Monday or Tuesday, right? Like, is that the vibe that we have, that we'll have an answer Monday or Tuesday on Hines?
Well, Monday's still technically
the weekend. You're right.
So Tuesday or Wednesday? Maybe. Hopefully.
Do you think we'll have an answer by Tuesday or Wednesday?
I do not know.
I don't either. When do they really have to, make that decision?
I don't know. Do you need it by the draft?
Well, I was going to think, don't you need it by the Cup final? When do other teams start hiring their coaches?
That's a good question because that hasn't really started either. Maybe they're waiting for the Cup final to be done in case there's a couple of coaches on the staffs. I'm not sure.
I mean, I keep wondering if it's like, hey, in some of these sports, they tell you no hiring and firing during the World Series. Like, we don't want any hiring and firing during the World Series because we don't want any attention being taken away from the actual baseball. And I don't know if they say that in the NHL where they say, hey, no hiring and firing during the Cup final. So this time period that we should probably have, we'll have a week until they start the Cup final because the Florida series is over and Vegas is going to win tonight. And so that series is going to be over. And
I'm not sure how long they'll wait, if they'll pull an NBA and wait until Thursday of next week to start or not.
So maybe that would be the time with which we'd find out. But he said last week that we would know pretty soon, and we don't know anything new yet. And it sounds to me like he knows. Like that he knows, and he's not going to say it. Can we play that first clip again before we get to the little nugget that Elliott dropped where I play this cut again? And I'm just going to tell you, I heard this with the, I think we're going to hear something. And, I don't know. I've heard some things. I don't know. But I think he knows.
I think, Carolyn, we're going to know one way or the other pretty soon. I don't know if it'll be before the weekend. I know it's a long weekend in the States. I don't know if it'll be before that. But I think we're going to have our answer one way or the other. I do think the Predators have at least looked into some things. I think it would be wrong of me to say I know the answer one way or the other because I don't. But I think they've looked at some things, and I think we're going to get an answer one way or the other pretty soon.
I think he knows. I think when Elliott says, it would be wrong for me to say one way or the other, I think he knows. Then he said, they've looked into some things. Good job, Caroline, to ask what are the things they've looked into.
Do you know what they've looked at, what those things may have been?
Good job, Caroline.
I don't specifically know, but I think I think it's fair to say that Barry Trotz looked at what might else be out there and if any of that appealed to him. But I don't know if they've actually interviewed anyone. I don't know that they've done that, but I think that they've surveyed. I think the best way for me to put it is they've surveyed the landscape to see what could be out there.
Okay, so he tells you that Barry Trotz has been looking around. And if Elliott knows that, so does everybody else. If Elliott knows that Barry Trotz has been surveying the landscape, that means John Hines knows they've been surveying the landscape. The second part he said right there about, I don't think they've interviewed anybody. I don't know how you all took that. I took that as they've interviewed other people. Elliott knows they've interviewed other people, but he obviously can't say that they've interviewed other people because they can't interview other people while they have a head coach in that position. So whereas all these other teams have lined up to interview Spencer Carberry to be their next head coach, the Predators have probably unofficially interviewed Spencer Carberry too. But he can't report that the Predators have interviewed Spencer Carberry because if he does, it becomes a massive story and Elliott probably loses the access from the decision makers that he knows, and that's how he breaks his news. That's how he does his job. So when Elliott says that he doesn't know what's going to happen with John Hines, but he tells us in such convincing terms that he knows we're going to have our answer maybe by the weekend, and it is Thursday, I feel like he knows. Then when he says, Barry Trotz, that they've looked into things, that he's surveying the landscape, and that says, I don't know if they've interviewed anybody yet or not. That means they have. Absolutely, they've interviewed people. And Elliott did continue on and talked about how, if there's not somebody necessarily that they like, then they could run it back with Hines, which we all know. But at this point, haven't you done enough damage to Hines? How do you sell anybody on the idea that you believe in this guy when you've spent a month and a half looking for his replacement? So Elliott says it's coming soon. He says he knows it's coming soon, but he doesn't know what it's going to be. And he says they've looked into it. They've scoured the landscape. But Elliott doesn't know if they've interviewed anybody, even though they currently have a head coach for that position. So make of that what you will. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. That's the weekly update from Elliott that we should have our answer soon. If they're keeping Hines, they're going to announce it on Friday. Friday at 5 o'clock. John Hines and the staff return. Because long weekend, news dump, whatever. If they're firing him, it'll probably be at the beginning of next week. But I don't know. But then, what about the Milwaukee team? Are they going to look at that coach? Are they waiting for that season? I don't know. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones on this. Plus, I do have another hockey thought as the Panthers have clinched their spot in the Cup final. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff. It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Do you ever feel like gambling is causing financial strain or hurting your relationships? The Gambling Clinic has been helping people who want to change their gambling habits for over 2 decades. With physical clinics and remote online appointments, we're here to help you make informed decisions about your gambling so it doesn't lead to a bigger problem. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com so we can work together to help you win your life back. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Looking for a big diamond? Genesis Diamonds introduces our Elite Collection, all new for this year. These are large, rare diamonds in the top 1% of the world. 3 carat, 4 carat, 5 carat, up to 10 carat precious diamonds for the most discriminating buyers who appreciate quality. Genesis owners travel worldwide, tapping a vast network of diamond cutters, carefully hand-selecting each of these remarkable diamonds. We invite you to view this premium collection of GIA-certified diamonds, rounds, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, even fancy colored diamonds in size and quality never before seen here. And to showcase these exquisite stones, only Genesis has the finest handcrafted rings from all the world-class designers. If this is the year you're upgrading her original diamond, or you just want to go big for the first time, no need to travel to New York or Los Angeles or Antwerp. Genesis Diamonds' elite collection of large, precious diamonds is here in Nashville. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Keep listening to 102.5 The Game for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Dave Matthews Band at Bridgestone Arena, Friday, May 26th, courtesy of Green Trees Company Dispensary. Listen for your cue to text to win DMB tickets from The Game and our friends at Green Trees Company Dispensary.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for our huge Memorial Weekend trade-in and savings event. This Memorial holiday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus trade-in towards the purchase of any new clubs, including all the top brands. Save big on apparel. The more you spend, the more you save. All these great deals and more happening this Memorial Day weekend at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at edwinwattsgolfshops.com.
Buffalo Bill's Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's East Entrance. 5 museums in one and the greatest firearms museum anywhere. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bill's Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
It's almost time for the 2nd annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Gary Force Acura and benefiting our friends at Souls for Souls. Join us on June 7th at the President's Reserve at Hermitage Golf Course. You can put a team together to play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs like me. It's going to be awesome and for a great cause, and you'll have a great chance to win great prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or simply donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I think the answer might be obvious, but first of all, is the plan to keep John, at least going into next season, as the coach of this team?
Well, John has a contract, and as I said, this will be a process. And I'm going to evaluate, from the players to the staff to John. We're going to talk about his plan for next year and go from there. That's the process, and you got to respect the process. It's the same process that David has gone through with me for a long time. So I don't think he was able to answer that question right away when you asked me that.
That was Barry Trotz with John Hines sitting right next to him. So John's coming back, right? Oh, no, not so sure about that. Phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Texter texts in and says, sounds like John Hines is fired. That coming, again, Elliott says the Predators have looked. But it's like somebody told me about the beach. Not that I do this. I do not do this. But you can look, but you can't touch. And it sounds like, from what Elliott's saying, that the Predators have done a lot of looking, and he doesn't know if they've interviewed anybody. Again, I think when Elliott says, I don't know if they've interviewed anybody, I think that's his way of saying they've interviewed people. That's just my guess. Ellie is up next here on John Hines. Thank you for calling and thank you for waiting. What's up, Ellie?
Let's be realistic. He's not going to be around. The team has not progressed. They've regressed underneath him. No players really truly gotten better under him. Do you think Quenneville might be in play?
Boy, that's a hot take, man. Like, somebody told me at the end of the hockey season that Joel Quenneville could be in play. And I'm not reporting anything or anything like that. It wasn't somebody in the know. Well, I would say it was somebody who was on the fringe of the know. Somebody on the fringe of the know told me that Quenneville could be in play. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, doesn't he have to go to Gary Bettman? Like, isn't there basically a show cause for Joel Quenneville where he has to get the blessing of Gary Bettman in order to coach in the NHL? And they were like, yeah, but, I think maybe he's already done that. Well, last week, or was it earlier this week?
I think they're going to have a meeting after the Cup or something like that, after the season.
They either met last week or this week. But Joel Quenneville met with Commissioner Bettman. And I saw that, and I thought to myself, well, maybe that's what the Predators are waiting for. Like, when I saw the headline at ESPN that Gary Bettman was meeting with Joel Quenneville, and I got to be completely honest with you, I didn't read the story because I'm not sure how much I care, but I did not read the story, but I saw the headline that Gary Bettman was meeting with Joel Quenneville. It immediately popped me back to the person that told me, again, somebody on the fringe of the know, who said Quenneville could be in play. Now, I have to be completely fair with you. If they hire Joel Quenneville, it's going to be hard for me to accept. Like, we're going to have to take that report that came out about what went down with the Blackhawks, and we're going to have to go through that, with a comb.
It says that we'll meet, discuss his future as an NHL coach after the playoffs.
Okay. So, to me, the way these things work, if he's going to meet with Bettman, he's going to be reinstated in the league. Like, Bettman is going to let him get a job if Bettman's going to meet with him. Bettman doesn't meet with him to then come out and say, yeah, no, he's still not allowed in the league. Bettman's meeting with him because he's going to get a job. Or that at least he's going to be available to get a job. But I was just told that on the fringe that, Quenneville could be in play. And if that happened, there'd have to be a lot of conversations around here on this program about Joel Quenneville. There'd have to be a lot of research done on this program on Joel Quenneville. I have to be completely frank with you. if they hire Joel Quenneville, I'm not sure I could accept, given what Joel Quenneville was a part of, I'm not sure I could accept that if Joel Quenneville did not come down here and sit in this chair and answer questions from me. You know, I got, like, there's no way. And you could say, well, you know, we had a press conference and you got to ask one or two questions in that, or, oh, well, you know, he went on the midday show and, you know, whatever. I don't care what he says to the midday show. I don't care what he says in a press conference. You're trying to ask me to accept Joel Quenneville as the coach. He's got to sit down here and answer the questions. And I do feel like we would have to agree that nothing is out of bounds when talking to Joel Quenneville about why he should be the coach of the Predators. Because when we talk about how he's got to go have a meeting with Gary Bettman about why he should be allowed back in the league, if the Predators are going to hire him, and obviously they would hire him before that we'd have the, you know, that kind of sit down, but he's got to explain to us why he deserves to be the coach. And normally, a lot of times, guys don't want to come on the show in that capacity because, again, when it's a press conference, they've got the microphone. I don't have the microphone. In this case, I have an equal microphone, and, you know, it's like it's their turf versus my turf. But if you're Joel Quenneville and you're trying to become the coach of this team and be accepted as the coach of this team, I mean, you got to come on this program. I think you have to. So I would put it at like 5% that there's a chance that Quenneville could be the coach, just based off of what I've heard. Adam Vingan has texted me. No way on Quenneville, he says. The Predators care way too much about their image. That's not a bad thing, honestly, if they say, no, we can't do Joel Quenneville. That's not a bad thing. You know, to me, I'd rather be the team that's, no, we're not hiring that guy. The Pittsburgh Steelers are that way. And I'd rather be that than the Raiders. And if you hire Joel Quenneville, I feel like that's what you're going to kind of be. But that'd be crazy, though, if they did hire Quenneville. Woo! Would those phones go crazy? Oh, man. I do wonder on this Hines thing. I do wonder why. I do wonder, like, why they didn't just fire him at the end of the year. Like, why drag this out so long? Even though, because I know a lot of people say, well, if you get your guy, then you can do it, and if you don't get your guy. But Hines hasn't won anything here. Hines isn't going to win anything here.
Does the fact he only has 1 year left on his deal impact any of that?
I don't care about that.
Like, just let it ride out and then go from there, as opposed to just doing it a year early?
I think David wants to be as far away removed from them firing John Hines as possible. Because I think he thinks Hines is a good coach. You know, I know Barry Trotz says up and down that Hines is a good coach, but considering that he's looking to go get another coach, it doesn't seem to resonate with me that he really believes that. I mean, it just kind of seems like that's the case. But I could be wrong. Texter texts in and says, explain what Joel Quenneville was a part of, please. Google it. Google why Joel Quenneville got fired from the Florida Panthers. Do that one on your own time. But let me say this. If the Predators start to interview Joel Quenneville, then we very much will get into all of that, and we will discuss it. And I think Joel Quenneville, I will say this, as the drive time afternoon show on the flagship station of the team's radio network, which a lot of people felt the need to tweet at me that apparently I didn't know that we were the flagship station of the Predators or something. But as the drive time show of the flagship station, if they hire a coach controversial like Joel Quenneville, I mean, I think whoever they hire, if they hire a coach, should come on this show that day. I mean, Mike Vrabel came on the show the day he got hired. Rand Carthon came on the show the day he got hired. I think anybody who gets hired should come on the show this day. It's a very popular show. But if it's Joel Quenneville, I mean, I think he's got to sit down right here and answer the questions. And the one thing we've said about this program, and if you've listened to this, I think you can back this up. This is a fair program that we let people talk. We may disagree with him, and we may say that we disagree with him, but this is a fair program. But if you're going to hire a coach like Quenneville, I think he's got to sit down. We got to talk. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Got a lot of NFL to get into, a little bit of a potpourri. We'll get to that coming up next right here, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And let's just give away something because I'm in a good mood today. Let's give away a pair of tickets to see John Oliver live at the Grand Ole Opry House on Monday, July 10th. Be caller 5 at 615-737-1025, and you will see John Oliver at the Grand Ole Opry House on Monday, July 10th.
Every day we are live and local.
They played tough. They came back, and they still lost.
And your source for Nashville sports.
Yes, you want to have a fire sale, but who's going to buy those players?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure's 31st Memorial Day sale.
DIY pools start at just $19.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed. 6 months, same as cash.
Great prices on spas and hot tubs. The Cypress Spa by Strong is only $29.99.
I want some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has hundreds of sets on sale.
The Sabre Infrared Grill starts at only $11.99. Complete Bull Grill Island start at only $39.99. Installed with a Sabre grill head. Tanning beds, pool tables, massage chairs on sale now.
Family Leisure, 2 huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Sounds Baseball is back. Catch the action at First Horizon Park tonight at 6:35 as the Nashville Sounds take on the Chicago Cubs affiliate. Throwback Thursday returns as the Sounds wear their classic 1978 throwback uniforms, and you enjoy drink specials all night. For tickets, visit NashvilleSounds.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Whatever your destination in life, you can get there easier with a checking account from F&M Bank. At F&M, our checking accounts give you the tools you need to manage your money well, like our smart free checking account that's actually free, because sometimes the basics are more than enough, making lives better by making banking easier. Come see us at one of our branches or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
CMA Fest is happening in downtown Nashville, June 8th through 11th, with dozens of performances by many of today's hottest black country artists, including K. Michelle, Chapel Hart, the TSU Aristocratic Bands, Breland, and many more. Proceeds benefit the CMA Foundation and music education programs. Visit CMAFest.com for details.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai, online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I just go back to, I think he has been thoroughly mismanaged. And because there's no reason this should be his image. Because I don't think the locker room, the guys that play with him, think of him that way. But I think because of the way this whole thing went down with tweeting out as, I need to be out of here. And, and then as Harbaugh was sitting down, I think the whole thing, he's got a perception problem. And I just continue to say, if he had an agent, he wouldn't have this problem, and he'd have had more money in the bank last year. People are like, oh, he's made $50 million. Yeah, but he's lost $20 million. He's never going to make up last year. Like, you're not making that up. It's gone. It's over. You don't get that year back. So I just think I think he's got an image problem.
Where was he to your point about the image problem, where was he during the playoff game that he didn't play in, and then 3 days later RG3 goes, oh, well, he was sick.
Yeah,
and
no.
It's like, your team's not coming out and defending you. It's your former backup quarterback on TV. Like, that's the problem I have with it. He demands a trade, and then, he demands the Deshaun Watson contract. And, I mean, it's It doesn't show up for the first day of OTAs? Really?
That was me on Louisville radio yesterday talking about Lamar Jackson. You can only imagine how the people in Louisville felt about me going on there saying, look, I think Lamar Jackson is the next Jay Cutler. It did not go over well. The people were not happy. I got people that I've known for like a decade that were texting me, and they were like, how can you say this about Lamar Jackson? He's so good. I know. Now, here's the crazy thing. Lamar Jackson and Drew, the host that I was on with in Louisville, was talking about how he's got an image problem because he doesn't have an agent. I don't think he has an image problem. For some reason, Lamar Jackson has an entire television network that is dedicated to covering him favorably. I mean, you would think that he's like a politician. I mean, every single person on ESPN has to swear up and down that Lamar Jackson is the greatest thing since sliced bread, or else I think they may run you off the channel. I mean, every time I turn it on, remember before the franchise tag deadline when there was all this talk that Baltimore may give him the non-exclusive tag? And the guys on ESPN, if you do that, he'll never come back to the Ravens. And Jeremy Fowler was trying to explain to former players Dan Orlovsky and Damian Woody was trying to explain, like, no, the Ravens can match any contract. They're like, no, Atlanta will sign him. You'll see. Atlanta didn't sign him. 5 seconds after everybody said Atlanta was going to sign him, Atlanta was not going to sign him. Then the Colts were the team that was going to sign him. Remember, everybody told us the Colts were going to sign Lamar Jackson. Then it came out that they weren't going to sign him. Then remember, Washington was going to sign him because Dan Snyder was going to want to stick it to the rest of the league, and Dan Snyder was going to give him the guaranteed contract, and then they didn't sign him. And yet, every time you turn on TV, today I was at the gym, they had First Take on. And the question on First Take was, is this going to be Lamar Jackson's best season ever? Because at ESPN, you are not allowed to have a negative take about Lamar Jackson. I have never seen anything like it. So yesterday, Jason Fitz was on our program, ESPN Radio. He and I argued for the umpteenth time about Lamar Jackson. I guaranteed that Lamar Jackson will never make the AFC Championship game. And all of a sudden today, as I'm just scrolling around on Twitter, ESPN Radio puts out this heater from Fitzy on today's edition of Fitz and Harry on ESPN Radio.
This show has been very pro Lamar Jackson. We continue to be pro Lamar Jackson.
No kidding.
I'm just going to be blunt for a second. I think so many people are dug in on opinions about a man getting paid that stupidity has taken over. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Most of us, like if Harry Douglas is a close friend of mine. If Harry goes out and gets a massive new deal from ESPN that's worth millions of dollars a year, I'm going to celebrate that. I would never turn around to somebody and be like, well, he's not worth that. Like, for whatever reason, this conversation about Lamar has become personal for people everywhere that are looking for a reason for him to fail. We live in such a jacked up world. Let's be honest. There are more people right now rooting against Lamar simply because he got paid than are rooting against Deshaun Watson, who has things far greater on his record than any of this conversation. Like, the stupidity with which we are now talking about Lamar makes no sense. In my mind, this is very simple. A guy went out, fought for his value, got paid. Now he has an opportunity to prove everybody wrong, and I hope like hell he does it.
That is so ESPN. That is so ESPN. And I love you, Fitz, and you know it, and we all can agree that I'd be saying the exact same things to Fitz's face right now. But that's so ESPN, and I'm going to tell you why it's ESPN. Because Fitz is going, everything with Lamar is that Lamar's the victim. Every time. It was the Ravens' fault that they couldn't get a contract done because Lamar was the victim. It was the Ravens' fault that Lamar doesn't have weapons, even though they drafted him Hollywood Brown in the first round. They drafted him Rashad Bateman in the first round. It was always the Ravens' fault. Greg Roman, it's his fault. So it's always been everybody's fault except for Lamar's on ESPN. And now Fitz is saying that people are jealous or angry or upset because Lamar got paid. Nobody's upset that Lamar Jackson got a contract. Lamar got a fair market value contract. Just like Kyler Murray got a fair market value contract. Just like Jalen Hurts got a fair market value contract. Just like Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are going to get fair market value contracts. The problem is the whole time Lamar was not interested in a full market value contract because he thought his market value was significantly higher than it really was. And that was the point that all of us that don't have ESPN disease and have to stick up for Lamar 24/7, that's what we were trying to say. That Lamar Jackson is not going to get a fully guaranteed contract because Lamar Jackson does not have the leverage to do so. Everybody who understood one page of the collective bargaining agreement knew it, but all ESPN did, and Fitz isn't the only one guilty of this, but he certainly is guilty of it. All ESPN did was tell us how Lamar's going to get the money. You watch, you'll see, he deserves it. He gets a contract. He should this, he should that. That's all we heard. Now, it's people are mad that Lamar got paid. No, we were right. You were the guys that were wrong. We told you he wasn't going to get that contract. Now, when it comes to Lamar, I mean, look, I went to the same college as Lamar. I root for a guy from Louisville. But the crybaby selfish stuff, it has nothing to do with the money. It has everything to do with the entire situation, which has been a joke. And everybody would realize how ridiculous all of the stuff Lamar's done, how crazy it's been, if you didn't turn on ESPN every day to have everybody tell you about how great Lamar is and how Lamar's always a victim and everybody's doing him wrong. My guess is that Fitz probably, I only saw that 1 minute clip that they clipped off and put on Twitter. Where do you think that take came from, Ian, from Fitz?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It probably came from this show yesterday. And we did tell Fitz on the show, like, hey, you go take this to your show tomorrow, Fitz. And I guess he did that. Couple of other NFL items I want to hit on the potpourri. The Raiders are a complete mess. So apparently it came out today that Jimmy Garoppolo, remember, they moved off of Derek Carr, a perfectly fine quarterback. They moved off of Derek Carr to go get a worse quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and they think that's what's going to help them, even though it's their defense that freaking stinks. And McDaniels has never won anything anywhere. And apparently Jimmy Garoppolo had to have another foot surgery after they signed him. So they signed him from the 49ers, and they did the physical. And when they did the physical, they realized that Jimmy needed another foot surgery, so Jimmy is not participating in OTAs because he's recovering from the foot surgery, which means that he won't have time to work with his new receivers. Boy, that sounds like a great plan. Way to go, Josh McDaniels. I mean, that sounds like pure brilliance, that you basically fired a perfectly good quarterback that rings the bell and answers the bell every opportunity that he has to play, not to go get a better quarterback, but to get a worse quarterback, but at least that you're familiar with, who's always hurt and got hurt again. And then Davante Adams came out and basically ripped the decision to go with Jimmy over Derek Carr, and Davante Adams had to come out today and take those back. According to NFL.com, published in a piece for The Ringer, Davante Adams wasn't a glowing assessment of the Raiders front office. Given time to craft the response, NFL.com writes, Adams deflected blame Thursday, assuring reporters everything is wonderful in Las Vegas, and his comments were simply overblown. That team's a freaking mess.
They don't even have a backup. Jimmy G, if you're going to have Jimmy G as your starter, don't you need like a legit backup?
Didn't they, let me say, they lost
Stidham.
They lost Jarrett Stidham.
From what I understand, is their backup is Hoyer.
You got to be kidding me.
I don't think so.
Brian Hoyer is the backup quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders with Jimmy Garoppolo as the starting quarterback.
That's what I understand, yeah.
Would they be interested in Malik? I mean, hey, Raiders, we know you're stupid. Would you be interested in Malik? By the way, did you see that Tom Brady's going to buy a piece of the Raiders?
I saw it got approved, yeah.
How do you call games when you own one of the teams? He's supposed to be in the number one crew for Fox, right? And it's like...
That's what they say.
Ian, give me the Fox music if you get a chance here. I mean, so I'm supposed to believe that Tom Brady is now a part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, and that on Sunday, Kurt Menefee and Terry Bradshaw and those guys are going to send you out to America's Game of the Week. Kevin Burkhardt, take it away. Beautiful Las Vegas here as the Las Vegas Raiders take on the Dallas Cowboys, America's Game of the Week, only on Fox. Hello again, everybody. I'm Kevin Burkhardt along with Tom Brady. And Tom, when you look at the Raiders, losers of their last 4, what do we think? He's not going to say what he actually feels. Like really? I mean, I was already worried enough Brady wasn't going to say what he thought. But, I mean, now he owns a team?
That is one thing. Brady has, been trained his entire career to not say what he actually believes.
Right.
It's going to be hard for him to flip that switch.
I mean, he has been trained to never tell the truth. I mean, I don't... And so I already had my reservations about Brady calling games to begin with. But now that he owns part of a team, how can that guy call a game? How can that guy call a game? Jerry Jones going to start calling games? Well, I'll tell you, I thought that was a good throw right there.
That actually
and if
would
I
be
could get him
entertaining.
on the Cowboys, I would. I told my guys in the draft, I told them we should have drafted him, and they didn't draft him. Actually, Jerry, the behind-the-scenes draft video that your people put out actually shows you saying to not draft the guy. That's not what I said. I said draft him. I wanted him to be a Dallas Cowboy, and I was so excited. Like, what are we doing? Brady owns a team. He's going to call games. Good night. 615-737-1025, a little football potpourri. By the way, it's amazing. We have a text in here, somebody complaining that we were talking about the Predators and the hockey coach, and then the next person complains about how we're talking about Lamar Jackson, but we won't talk about a potential coach for the Predators. We literally just talked about a potential coach for the Predators. It's like this text line. I cannot make everybody happy. I mean, it is. I tell you, you people on the text line, you guys are freaking demanding some days. Goodness gracious. Speaking of demanding, Will Levis did something that I don't think's a big deal. But because he's a quarterback, it's kind of a deal. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185! Take!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We were made to build our world from scratch. Born with a curiosity that never quits. And wired with what it takes to get the job done. All we need is the right set of tools. Northern Tool and Equipment is a problem solver's paradise. There's nothing we can't find, fix, or figure out together. We're made for this. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com.
Being value conscious and getting the most for your money is so important these days, and that's why it's more important than ever to shop at Genesis Diamonds, the undisputed value leader.
Part of the education at Genesis Diamonds is we explain to you how we travel the world and purchase our diamonds, how we buy in bulk, we pay cash for our diamonds so we can save every possible percent to save you money on your diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
There are no middlemen, there are no other wholesalers or dealers, so we cut out all of those extra added markups and pass those savings on to you.
When you combine that unmatched value with a totally no-pressure shopping experience, you know you're in the right place.
Because we do not work on commission, our sole purpose is to make sure you get exactly what you want. There's nothing in it for us personally, whether you spend $1,000 or $100,000.
That's why at Genesis, people often end up spending less than they had budgeted.
Our goal is to purely present you with options so you can choose exactly what you want.
The value you want, the experience you deserve. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
This week's Nashville's Best Deal is Beach Bend Park and Splash Lagoon.
Big park, bigger fun, and big savings with buy one, get one free admission. 2 parks, 2 tickets for the price of one while supplies last at thegamenashville.com/deals. Beach Bend Park, where parking, tubes, and sunscreen are always free. Your ticket to summer fun and just a short drive to Bowling Green, Kentucky. Get your BOGO deal while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
Titans have actually made a move, finalizing a one-year deal.
Strong-willed opinions.
No, I disagree. No, I totally disagree with that.
And sometimes, some old man takes...
Don't want those cooked carrots that are 5 days old.
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
As far as on the field for you the first couple of days, what do you think? What are you getting up to speed with? What do you need to work on?
It's been good. I mean, a lot. I need to work on everything, just trying to get better every day. Now it's good that whereas rookie minicamp, it was like all new stuff the night before. All the stuff we're running now for the most part, we've already ran. So it's kind of like testing our recall. We're not just kind of getting thrown in there. We know what to expect. We're going to get looks that we've probably seen, maybe not before yet, but opportunities to work on and develop from what we learned over rookie minicamp.
Huffing and puffing Will Levis after minicamp. I mean, again, you hear that. It's yeah, you know, it's like the fat guy after he walks up the steps. It's like, hold on, you need a second there, collect your breath a little bit. So yesterday we talked about the weird press conferences from Malik Willis, where it felt like Malik Willis was telling the truth like somebody on the Maury Povich show, and Will Levis with his huffing and puffing and face touching. And today I went back and watched it again, the Levis press conference. And I wonder if I'm making a big deal about nothing or if this really is something because, again, he is a quarterback. And he is a quarterback with a lot of talent. He is a quarterback who should have gone in the first round, and he is a quarterback that did not go in the first round, ultimately because teams were skeptical about who he was. And that's what Charles Davis said after the draft when Charles was trying to analyze how he and a lot of other people got it wrong about where Levis was going to go, and in the nice Charles Davis way admitted to the fact that, honestly, there's something that's not adding up for these teams.
I bought into, obviously, Houston not taking a quarterback at 2, mistake. So I said they take quarterback at 12 and still get their defender. Got that wrong. The injury thing kicked in as well. Toe injury that he played through last year. A number of teams were dinging him for it and didn't want to use a high pick for him on that. Plus, I think there was some misevaluation going in.
Mm-hmm.
As we got closer to the draft, when I say misevaluation, I think some teams really, as they kept digging into it, kept coming back to whatever concerned them about young Mr. Will Levis came more to the front than it did before.
Okay, Charles is telling you, whatever it was that these teams didn't like about Will Levis, clearly it bothered them, even if we brushed it off some. Remember Phil Simms when he said the whole taking pictures of yourself, and he was kind of worried about how to say it, but then finally he's like, screw it. It doesn't sit well with me. So Will Levis, everything he does is under a microscope, and we are the microscope. I went back and watched his 3-minute media availability on the Titans YouTube page this morning, And this does include a little chunk of there where the Titans took something out. I don't know what it is they took out, but they took something out. He touched his face 16 times in 3 minutes. 16 times. And I counted a touch of the face every time the hand went below the jaw and then came back up. I counted that as a time. So if his hand was on his face and then let's say it was on the side of his cheek and then he moved it down to his chin, I don't count that. Or he took it off for a second and then put it back on, I don't count that. But if he dropped it below the chin and then brought it back up, I counted it. In 3 minutes, he touched his face 16 times. It was freaking weird. So then I Googled, what does it mean when someone touches their face a lot? Body language. And Ian, you can back me up on this because I included it in today's grid.
Yep.
Just the straight up Google search. What does it mean when someone touches their face a lot? Body language ? Quote, touching your face during a conversation, face touching, especially on the nose, and there was some nose there, is commonly interpreted as an indication of deception. Also, covering the mouth is a common gesture people make when they're lying. Always keep your hands away from your face when you're speaking. Which leads me to then ask the question, why is Will Levis touching his face to be deceptive when he's getting asked harmless questions after a passing camp practice? What's going on? And so then I thought to myself, you know what? I've got to be fair here. Like maybe it's a nervous twitch, maybe it's something or another. Let's go back to his combine interview. Let's go back to his podium combine interview where every, Tom, Dick, and Harry could come out and ask him whatever question they wanted to. And let's see what that's like compared to this. And it was Levis it was 19 minutes of Levis, hands at the sides. Didn't touch his face at all, didn't slide around a lot, So you mean to tell me that he was more confident and his body language seemed more confident when he was talking at the combine than it did when he was having his media availability? Levis is afraid? Like, has Vrabel just, drilled it into these guys' heads that saying the wrong thing is going to get you in a world of trouble? And Levis is just, touching his face the whole time because he's like, okay, what do I say here so that Vrabel doesn't get mad at me? What do I say here that doesn't end up on ESPN? What do I say here that doesn't alienate Tannehill? Like, what do I say here when they ask me what I thought about today's practice? Again, I don't have the answers. I'm not saying that Will Levis was lying or was trying to be deceptive, and I'm not even sure what would be in there for him to be deceptive about. But he touched his face 16 times over 3 minutes. And apparently touching your face during a conversation, especially on the nose, is commonly interpreted as an indication of deception. And for everybody out there, and I have not checked the text line while we've been doing this segment, for everybody out there that I'm sure is going to tell me that this isn't a big deal, you're probably right. But he's the quarterback. And not only is he the quarterback, but he's the quarterback of the future. And it's the little things like this that kept teams from wanting to draft him in the first round. Boy, people are so mad. I just looked at the text line. I'm sorry, he's the quarterback. At least I didn't do what Rich Gannon did, where Rich Gannon sat there and talked about how he should leave his hot mom and hot sister at home and only bring one. It's like, he's got his mom and his girlfriend and his sister, and maybe just bring one next time. It's
maybe
like,
he's just really sweaty coming off the field here.
And he's touching his face?
Mariota used to do that with the towel. He used to have that towel up at the podium. He was always messing with this towel.
I get touching your face with a towel. But just touching your face, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he does not have a towel or any sweatband. I don't know.
Cody says his skin was probably just dry. That must have been what it is.
Maybe. Maybe he's having some allergies to the field and the grass out there.
I don't know, man. Between that and the heavy panting, I don't know what to make of Will Levis, but we'll keep that in the back pocket here for a second. We will continue to analyze like we should on this program. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. I'm just convinced people do not understand the Titans. Like, they do not understand the Titans. They do not understand what the Titans do. They do not understand how the Titans win. And one of my guys seems to have fallen down that path. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025, which is our phone number here on the program. Let me tell all the fine folks that join us on June 6th for the night before Charity Writers Round featuring Saving Abel, benefiting Souls for Souls. General admission is $20 with every ticket going to purchase a new pair of shoes for a child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee. It's happening at the brand new The Ballad East next to the Gallatin Hotel in East Nashville. The doors open at 6. Get your tickets now at thegamenashville.com/golf.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robbie and Rexroad.
Yeah, you take that. You take that. Take 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say. And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to JarrettFire.com. JARRETT Fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
This is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. For most of us, sex is a big part of our relationship. So when something like erectile dysfunction starts affecting intimacy, it can be a real problem. But what you may not know is that ED doesn't just affect you, it can be tough on your partner as well. Plus, if you have ED, you know how it can make you feel. The truth is, we see a lot of guys who have depression, frustration, and even relationship issues because of ED. But we don't want ED to impact you or the one you love anymore. The Tennessee Men's Clinic tackles ED. Our urologists and medical providers take a comprehensive approach and have treated thousands of men with treatments that are successful in nearly 90% of cases. Even if your hormones are off, or if pills, wave therapy, or other treatments have left you hanging, the Tennessee Men's Clinic will work hard to help you get your sex life back, perhaps performing like you haven't in a long time. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices in Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Hey guys, it's Mike at Newton Chevrolet GMC in Shelbyville. It's finally starting to warm up out there, right? You know what that means. Warmer temperatures means AC units better be ready to go. Is your car's AC not keeping up with the summer sun? Or are you relying on the open windows to keep you cooled off? Maybe it's time for an upgrade. And we've got you covered like sunscreen on a lifeguard's nose. If you're looking for a reliable used car, we've got them starting at just $9,000. And most of our used vehicles are covered with the Newton's certified pre-owned warranty, so that you'll have even more peace of mind. If you want more of an upgrade, our new car selection of Chevys and GMCs is waiting for you. From trucks to reliable SUVs and everything in between. And on certain Chevy units this month, you won't have to make a payment for 90 days. Don't keep sweating your way through summer. Get a great AC upgrade from Newton Chevrolet GMC in Shelbyville, Tennessee today. Visit NewtonChevroletGMC.com today. That's NewtonChevroletGMC.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
Brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Another busy night of some playoff action is set for this Thursday. The Florida Panthers punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final last night. The Vegas Golden Knights will be looking to join them as they take on the Dallas Stars in Game 4 of the Western Conference Final. Stars captain Jamie Benn will miss the game, serving a 2-game suspension. Coverage of Vegas versus Dallas starts at 6:30. Following that, the Milwaukee Admirals, the AHL affiliate of the Nashville Predators, continue their quest for the Calder Cup as they begin the Western Conference Finals versus Coachella. On the hardwood, hardwood. The Boston Celtics are looking to stay alive for another game versus the Miami Heat in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. ESPN radio coverage will join in progress after the conclusion of the Nashville Sounds. The Sounds once again host the Iowa Cubs at First Horizon Park. Coverage begins at 6:20 on 94.9 The Fan. This update brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff.
You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 1025, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. And I got to tell you, we talked about this with TD. Everybody at ESPN seems to be down on the Titans for keeping Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Bill Barnwell today at ESPN, the worst offseason in the league. Why? Because they kept Henry and Tannehill. You mean the guys that have won them a lot of games over the years. Well, what's that make the Arizona Cardinals offseason with Kyler Murray, who hasn't won them games over the years? The Titans acquired Ryan Tannehill in 2019. That's the year Kyler Murray was drafted. You tell me right now, who's won more games for their team, Murray or Tannehill? But I digress. I find it really disheartening that not a lot of people actually watch how the Titans win, and they don't watch the Titan games, but they look at the Titan box scores, and then they have very strong opinions based upon those box scores that they've read and not those games they've watched. And today it hit my man, Pat Kerwin. Now, if you listen to this program, you know that I love Pat Kerwin. I mean, I think Pat Kerwin used to write for NFL.com when I was a kid. And I used to read Pat Kerwin. He's a former coach. He's a former NFL executive. He's been in the media now for 20, 30 years. I mean, I love Pat Kerwin. He's the kind of guy in NFL circles who's so tenured doing what he's doing that he doesn't have to have sacred cows. That he can tell it the way it is. In fact, I like Pat Kerwin because Pat Kerwin seems to just see things the way that I see them. For example, when the Titans drafted Will Levis, Pat Kerwin called it what I already believe it is when it comes to Malik Willis.
Pat, last year it was Tennessee taking a quarterback in the third round in Malik Willis. So if this guy turns out to be the guy that replaces Ryan Tannehill, you don't care about the third round next year.
You don't. Malik Willis, it looks to me like a total failure. I hate to say it that way, but now they're doing this. That's the reality of what happened.
Okay. So, Pat, blunt about it. Malik Willis is a total failure. I agree. It's a bust of a pick. I'm not mad about it because it was the 86th pick and not the 6th pick or the 8th pick. But move on. Then when it comes to Peter Skoronski playing left tackle, I'm the only guy in the world that thinks the Titans should put the 11th overall pick at the most valuable offensive line spot. Everybody else seems to think I'm crazy. Not Pat Kerwin.
Dillard couldn't hold the job in Philadelphia. I thought they paid him a lot of money. I was surprised by it, but if you want my opinion, Skoronski should be the left tackle. Why would I take a guy in the first round and throw him right at guard? He's a tackle, and he's a really good tackle, and I don't give a damn about his short arms. Dillard couldn't beat out a rugby player.
Yeah. Well, they did give him $10 million a year.
I know they did. And you can go play guard for that. But that's me. I think it's going the other way, but I wouldn't do. Why would I take Skoronski and throw him right at guard? You know what, Skoronski? Go over there and play left tackle until you can't.
That's my guy, Pat Kerwin at NFL Radio. So yesterday they were ranking running back rooms in the NFL, and they got to the Titans. And Pat Kerwin was talking about Derrick Henry and what the Titans need to do with Derrick Henry. And I could not believe my man Pat and how he let me down with his take.
behind Derrick Henry, there is not a lot of experience here, Pat. What are you thinking of this room?
Yeah, well, that's been the problem that he breaks down. I was looking at his percentage of plays. It's pretty high. Like he was first of the end of the year, I think, on a 6-game losing streak. The last 4 weeks, he was well into the 70s on plays. He was out there. He has to be out there. This is how it goes for him. As a runner, he's a 10, but no argument. He's rare, and he does a lot of things. They have to be disciplined to help the big guy out, because if you don't get someone in there that's going to get 150 carries, to me, the backup guy should have been 21 was perfect. 133 carries for Foreman. Perfect. The next year, it should have been 143 for whoever it was. And then this year, it should be 153. You got to keep lightening the load for the big guy. You can't keep, putting him out there for all of it, because it's starting to show the wear and tear.
Pat! First of all, the reason why Deontay Foreman got 133 carries is because Derrick Henry was out. That's why he got so many carries. It's like, they had a great plan in 2021. Yeah, Derrick missed, 9 games that year? Derrick is not going to miss 9 games this upcoming season. And if he does, you're screwed. But where does this narrative that Derrick Henry is slowing down come from? Where does the narrative that Derrick Henry needs the ball less, where does this come from? And I love Pat Kerwin. I do. But he talked about how many plays Derrick Henry played the last 4 games of last year, and Derrick went over 100 yards in all 4 of those games. 121 versus Jacksonville, 104 versus the Chargers, 126 versus the Texans, 109 versus the Jags. In the game of the season, with everything on the line, with a third-string quarterback, with a backup offensive line, on the road at Jacksonville, who hasn't been to the playoffs in 5 years, Derrick carried the ball for 109 yards. Also had 19 on a catch. Derrick was great in that game. And I remember on the third down play, I want to say it was a 3rd and 6 or a 3rd and 8. I remember on the third down play, this was about 2:50 to go in the game. And I remember thinking to myself, watching Derrick Henry run off the field before the third down play that Josh Dobbs fumbled, that Jacksonville picked up in return for a touchdown. And if you want to get into whether or not that was actually a fumble, I thought it was a fumble when it happened, but then I saw Josh Allen do the same thing in a playoff game, and they called it incomplete, so who knows? That bang-bang play. But I go back to this. I saw Derrick run off the field before that 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 8 or 3rd and whatever it was, and I thought to myself, wait a minute. Do you give it to him again? I think it was a 3rd and 6. And I thought to myself, do you give it to him again? And the only reason I say this is because he might get the first down, and if he gets the first down, now Jacksonville's using their timeouts. But even if he doesn't get the first down, the clock rolls, and you're punting to Jacksonville, and you had played great defense in that game, and so now you've got to make Trevor Lawrence come down and kick a field goal to tie you or a touchdown to beat you. And the way the defense was playing, I was in favor of it. They took him out. Dobbs got hit. Ball came loose. Game over. Season over. But Derrick played great. I mean, Derrick Henry for his career averages 4.8 yards a carry. Last season, Derrick Henry averaged 4.4 yards a carry. And I think some of you would argue that that shows that Derrick's slowing down, because that's what I keep hearing. That's what I read in Bill Barnwell's piece today at ESPN.com. That's what my main man, Pat Kerwin, is saying, is that Derrick Henry is slowing down. But what I think it is the offensive line freaking sucked last year. So instead of the big old fat boy Roger Saffold who could push people around in the run game, Derrick Henry's running off the left side with Dennis Daly and little baby Aaron Brewer. It's going to be tougher to get yards. When you had Lewan, a $14 million tackle, and Saffold, a $12 million guard, when you had $26 million worth of beef there, it's one thing. When you go on the cheap with Daly and Brewer, it's another. Let's not forget the fact that last year the Titans had almost no threat of a passing game. Zero threat of a passing game. And they still ran for 1,500 yards, and he still was number 2 in the league. So what are you telling me that he's breaking down? And what are you telling me that they need to give the ball to Derrick Henry less? I'm sorry. I think they need to give the ball to Derrick Henry more. I want Derrick Henry to play more. Because as Nick Saban said, and he couldn't explain it, but he said the more he touches the ball, the better he plays. And I agree with him. That's the reason why you can't give the ball to somebody else 135 times a season, because it would be crazy to do that. And on top of it, think of yourself as a coach. And every single game matters in the NFL. And the one game that didn't matter for the Titans last year, they sat Derrick Henry. But every single game matters. And this is your livelihood. This is your career, your life's work. And what are you going to do? Are you going to risk your livelihood and your job and your career on trying to get Hassan Haskins a couple extra carries? Or are you going to give it to the big dog? Because you know me, I'm giving it to the big boy. I mean, this is the guy who got me here. And now you want me to give it to Hassan Haskins? No. We're giving the ball to Derrick Henry. And it's one thing for some guy on TV, that played and doesn't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday out there to say something like that of, he's really slowing down. It's another thing for my guy Pat Kerwin to say it. Derrick had 13 touchdowns last year. It's bumming me out that everybody thinks the Titans should get rid of Henry and Tannehill. I don't get it. I thought Henry and Tannehill were great last year, especially Henry. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. I still love you, Pat Kerwin. I do. But, man, for the guy who I've always felt like, he's an old curmudgeon, I'm a young curmudgeon, Pat, what are you doing? What are you touching your face in there for, Ian? I'm about to call you Will Levis.
I'm hoping not a nervous tick here.
I'm looking at Ian. He's rubbing his face. Will Levis in there. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Stillman and Company. And the one thing that everybody seems to just casually forget when it comes to the Titans and all the things that everybody is telling them that they're doing wrong. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase and Michelle, and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Start your savings journey now. A strong savings strategy creates financial stability, leading to more opportunity for you and the people who count on you. At F&M Bank, our savings accounts help you save easily, plan for expenses, and prepare for whatever comes your way. Life is complicated. Banking shouldn't be. Come see us at one of our branches or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for our huge Memorial Weekend trade-in and savings event. This Memorial holiday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus trade-in towards the purchase of any new clubs, including all the top brands. Save big on apparel. The more you spend, the more you save. All these great deals and more happening this Memorial Day weekend at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at edwinwattsgolfshops.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
AM radio provides always-on news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports. And it's also a vital service that provides important emergency information when your community needs it most. Tell Congress you need AM radio to stay in your car. Because when cell phones and the internet are down, this free emergency service is critical. And when you don't have electricity, radio in the car is often your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You know, between yourself and Derek and Kevin Byard, as far as all the rumors and all that floated out on the internet, and what each of you probably were traded or released 3 times. How did you respond to all that as things like that come about, even though you know you're still here?
Yeah, I tried to stay out of it, honestly. Didn't see a lot of it. You know, I'd get a text from a friend or something, like, oh, really? You know, so just try to stay out of it as much as you can. You know, I think riding that roller coaster is a tough one to ride, so just try to stay out of it, and just kept my head down, kept doing the things I could do each and every day, and if something was going to happen, I'm sure they'd let me know. So didn't really ride that roller coaster.
There you go. That was Ryan Tannehill. And Tannehill, you know, I know everybody was talking about Megan. I didn't really see it. Sure. I'm sure Tannehill saw it. Now, ESPN ranks the top off seasons in the NFL and the worst. Bill Barnwell at ESPN giving number 32 to your Tennessee Titans. What went wrong? Bill Barnwell writes at ESPN, quote, I'm not sure whether the Titans are rebuilding. I guess it would be, I'm not sure whether the Titans are rebuilding or not, because there needs to be a whether and then an or, but whatever. I'm not sure the Titans are rebuilding. The 2 moves hanging over the organization's head all offseason still haven't been resolved, as Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are still on the roster. Stop. They haven't been resolved. Tannehill's the quarterback, Henry's the running back, right? I continue. Bill Barnwell writes, both are entering the final year of their respective deals and have declined over the past 2 seasons. Tannehill is 34 and Henry is 29. Are they really going to be pushing this team forward next season, let alone 2024 and beyond? Kevin Byard was asked to take a pay cut, but after he called Tennessee's bluff, the team kept its starting safety. Holding on to those 3 players compromised the moves Rand Carthon could have made as he rebuilt the roster. The Titans needed a new left tackle after cutting Taylor Lewan, but the addition of Andre Dillard saw Rand Carthon pay $10 million for a 2019 first-round pick who didn't develop into a starter under standout offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland in Philadelphia. Is Dillard really likely to be better in Tennessee? At the league's most critical positions, quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge rusher, and corner, the Titans are deficient. In past years, they were able to make up for that with what they had elsewhere with Henry, Byard, Simmons, and Autry, and an excellent interior offensive line. Simmons is a superstar, but Tennessee definitely needs Dillard, Harold Landry, and Treylon Burks to join him at that level in 2023. I don't think they need Andre Dillard to be a superstar. I think they just need Andre Dillard to be a starting caliber NFL player. But that takes me back to Tannehill. What he's saying is that the Titans were incredibly deficient at quarterback and that they were not able to make better moves for their team because they paid Ryan Tannehill $27 million when, again, the going rate for a quarterback is now plus $50 million in the NFL. Jalen Hurts almost makes double the amount of money as Ryan Tannehill. Jalen Hurts does not give double the contribution as Ryan Tannehill to his team. But even if you didn't watch the Titans and you just read the box scores, wouldn't it be obvious that Tannehill wasn't that bad last year? Quarterback rating is not the end-all, be-all of quarterback stats. ESPN has developed a stat called QBR, and I'm still not totally sure how it works. And everybody on ESPN has to pump QBR. But just like the FPI, the Football Percentage Index, I think those ESPN stats are stupid. So I just go with the traditional ones that they have, and I'll go with quarterback rating, which, encapsulates a lot of what happens at the position. I went and looked at Ryan Tannehill's quarterback rating, a respectable 94.6. And I thought to myself, how many quarterbacks will the Titans play next season that had a better quarterback rating than Ryan Tannehill? Now, I am going to include the rookies in the group of quarterbacks that are not as good as Tannehill's quarterback rating, even though they didn't play in the NFL, because I think we can all assume that for right now, Ryan Tannehill is better than Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, and Bryce Young. So Tannehill's quarterback rating was 94.6. This season, the quarterbacks the Titans will play, that quarterback rating was better than Anthony Richardson. You'll play him twice. C.J. Stroud, you'll play him twice. Bryce Young, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Kenny Pickett, Derek Carr, Desmond Ridder, Deshaun Watson. His quarterback rating was better than all of those guys. The quarterbacks who had a higher quarterback rating than Ryan Tannehill, Tua Tagovailoa, who, by the way, I don't even know if Tua's good. I hear everybody talk about the Dolphins, and they say, oh, yeah, Tua is their future if Tua can stay healthy. I'm like, one, I don't know if Tua can stay healthy, and two, I don't know. Again, I didn't watch a lot of Dolphin games, and the ones I did watch, he either got hurt or was already concussed. But, did Tua light it up last year and I missed that? Because they talk about Tua like he just needs to stay healthy and he's a superstar, and I don't think he's proven he's a superstar, but I digress. Tua had a better quarterback rating. Geno Smith had a better quarterback rating. Joe Burrow had a better quarterback rating. And Trevor Lawrence had a better quarterback rating, and you'll play him twice. And by the way, the difference between Tannehill and Trevor Lawrence was 95.2. Tannehill was 94.6. And yet I read in ESPN that the Titans screwed up this offseason because they kept Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. They kept the second leading rusher in the NFL, and they kept a quarterback who had a higher rating than Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson. And they screwed up. They had a bad offseason. Can I ask how? And I go back to kind of what we're doing this for. Everybody tells me, well, those moves might help them this season, but those won't be the long-term moves that help them. Guys, this is the NFL. There is no thinking 3 years out. Nobody in the NFL thinks like that. Case in point, the Eagles. In 2019, the Eagles signed Carson Wentz to a massive contract extension because they thought he was their future. 2 years later, he was gone. Jalen Hurts was their quarterback. They played a season, made the playoffs, and tried to get Russell Wilson. Now they're paying Jalen Hurts $50 million a year because there are no 3-year plans in the NFL. So when I hear everybody talk about that, and they say that the Titans screwed up because they kept Ryan Tannehill, can I ask you who they would have gotten that would be any better for this season? Derek Carr's not better than Tannehill. Over their entire career, he's not a higher-rated passer. Over the last 3 years, he's not a higher-rated passer. And last year, when he had Devontae Adams and Tannehill had Robert Woods, Tannehill was still a higher-rated passer than Derek Carr. So Derek Carr's not an upgrade to Tannehill. Jimmy Garoppolo was not an upgrade to Tannehill. The only guy out there who was an upgrade to Tannehill, who had a lower quarterback rating and lower QBR than Tannehill, was Aaron Rodgers. That's it. And so they had a bad offseason. Like ESPN is telling me they had a bad offseason because they brought back Derrick Henry, 1,500 rushing yards, 100-yard games in his last 4, has carried the organization for 5 years, and they brought back Ryan Tannehill at $27 million when the going rate for a quarterback is $50 million in cash, and he's better than 75% of the quarterbacks you're going to play this year. Am I living in the land of stupid, or is it just me? I don't get it. Like, where do the people come up with this stuff? Well, them keeping Tannehill, that kept Rand Carthon from being able to make other big moves. Like what? Signing Mike McGlinchey? What left tackle would the Titans have gone out and signed that would have come in here for big-time money that would have not only necessitated cutting the quarterback, but also would have outweighed you going from Tannehill to some Scarbini? Or even Will Levis right now. I mean, it's just crazy talk to me. Unbelievable. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones because I see them. 615-737-1025. Plus, Tim Kelly made a side comment that did not sit well with me. But it's not that it didn't sit well with me because I thought it lacked class, because I thought it was fine. Not because I think he's wrong, because I think he's right. But because of the decision the organization decided to make, that it obviously didn't seem was that big of a deal to Tim Kelly. Explain what that is next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
It's Family Leisure's Memorial Day sale.
So get your family swimming now. DIY pools start at just $19.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99. Installed with 6 months, same as cash.
Over 450 different packages to choose from. Guaranteed below internet prices.
Family Leisure has great prices on spas and hot tubs in stock and ready for immediate delivery. The Cypress Spa by Strong is only $29.99. Family Leisure has the one you want at guaranteed low prices.
I want to be in some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has hundreds of sets from all the best brands on sale at guaranteed low prices. And right now, free delivery.
I want to check out the new grills and grill islands. The Sabre infrared grill starts at only $11.99. Complete bull grill islands start at only $39.99. Installed on your patio with a Sabre grill. Tanning beds, pool tables, massage chairs, and more. On sale now at Family Leisure's 31st Memorial Day sale.
That's Family Leisure. 2 huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Now through Memorial Day, get fantastic deals at Electronic Express. Get an LG 75-inch 4K TV for just $6.99 or a Frigidaire 4-piece kitchen package for $21.99. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture and mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an Acer gaming monitor for just $129 or an HP 14-inch laptop for only $199. Get up to 3 years free financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hi, this is Warren Moon, 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback and member of the Tennessee Titans Ring of Honor and Pro Football Hall of Fame. On the field, I always wore a helmet and pads to make sure I was protected. Life is no different. That's why I got vaccinated and boosted against COVID-19. Protection keeps you in the game. Talk to your doctor and get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and your family against COVID-19 today.
For more information, go to nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Do I need Medicare when I turn 65, or can I wait?
With more than 70 years of experience helping Tennesseans, Farm Bureau Health Plans can answer all your questions about Medicare.
Part A, B, C, D, it's all alphabet soup to me.
So if you're looking for an affordable way to cover the gaps left by Medicare or protection from the high cost of prescription drugs, you can plan on us to make it easy. Find out more at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel stays true to the spirit of Music City, the perfect spot for sports and arena concert fans year-round. Savor Bar Lines Originals, the Bar Line Barbecue Burger or Midtown Mushroom Swiss Burger. Excite your taste buds with the Sobro Grinder with smoked turkey, the Boss Hog with whiskey braised pork butt, and the Angry Chicken, pickle brine fried chicken breast with honey sriracha. Attending an event downtown? Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel, open daily at 11 a.m. is a great way to kick off your afternoon or evening.
The postseason is here. Whether it's the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs or the NBA, we have you covered on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
As a room, now we'll see what happens with Spears. You and I like Tajay Spears. But didn't they find a no ACL in his knee?
Well, he's had 2 ACLs. Yeah, he's had 2 knee injuries.
Well, they said there's no ACL in there. Now, Garrison Hurst was one of those guys who had that, so I just took a note when they came out and said he didn't have an ACL, and he said, I've been fine, and he is. We saw how fast he is. Maybe we should be taking ACLs out. You want to get faster. But here's the reality of who they are. Like, we like Baltimore, but they're a 13. We like Cleveland's backs, and they got Chubb. They're a 14. We like Tennessee's big back, but they're a 14. They're not strong enough in the room, and they need to be.
There you go. That was Pat Kerwin, my man Pat Kerwin, on NFL radio. And again, it bothers me that Pat Kerwin is so convinced that the Titans need to get help for Derrick Henry when I think Derrick Henry's fine. But they did draft Tajay Spears. And maybe I'm just not paying close enough attention in these passing camps. And there's only so much you can take away from them. But the 2 camps, the rookie mini camp and the OTA the other day, I read these stories from Gentry Estes or Chris Sanders or TD about, oh my goodness, Spears is so great. Spears is so athletic. Spears accelerates Spears. And they might be right. I mean, they're all saying the same thing, so it must be true. I haven't seen it, but I heard something Tim Kelly said yesterday or Tuesday when he talked that honestly bothered me. It didn't bother me that Tim Kelly said it. It bothered me because I don't think he's wrong. And it was a question that was asked to him about Spears and his initial reaction to the question about Spears before he actually starts talking about Spears.
As a compliment to Derrick, and maybe what could he bring new to this offense that it hasn't had?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that we haven't had it, but they have totally different skill sets. Obviously, you just look at them walking side by side, and I think that's pretty clear to see.
So he says, I wouldn't say that we haven't had that. So when I hear people talk about Tajay Spears, I hear the talk that this guy is not just a great receiving back, but that he is so electric and so elusive and so that him out of the backfield, it will be dangerous when he touches the football. Because if he's not that, then it's just what they've had before, which is Dontrell Hilliard. And when he said that about, well, it's not like we haven't had that here. Tim Kelly's only been here for 1 season, so he has to be talking about Hilliard. He's not talking about Haskins. So what he's telling you before he starts talking about how Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears have completely different skill sets, which, no duh. What he's telling you is, we had that in Dontrell Hilliard. If all Tajay Spears is going to do is fill the void of Dontrell Hilliard, you don't need to use a 3rd-round pick on that, especially when you don't have any wide receivers outside of the one guy. I mean, that's crazy. They paid Dontrell Hilliard $1.1 million last year. That is league minimum money that they paid Dontrell Hilliard to be essentially their third best receiver last year. Now, let me say this, that I'm not dumping on Dontrell Hilliard at all, because when it comes to what Dontrell Hilliard gave the Titans over the year and a half that he was here, I look at him and I say, salute. Because Dontrell Hilliard did a lot of good things for the Titans. And he was a good receiver out of the backfield, and he made, he was a mismatch for defenses, and he was great in the red zone, and Tannehill trusted him, and he wasn't a bad runner. And if they had just brought Dontrell Hilliard back to be the third down back, I would have been fine with it. You wouldn't have heard me complain at all. So when you draft Tajay Spears and you don't bring back Dontrell Hilliard for league minimum, or find another Dontrell Hilliard out there that you can get for league minimum, then Tajay Spears better be something that Dontrell Hilliard's not. Hey, he better be special. When they talk about how, oh yeah, Spears catches the ball and he's fast, there's tons of fast backs in the league that are these scat guys that come out of the backfield and you drop it off and they're a problem. And they make about $1 million. And you can get them as undrafted free agents, or you can draft them in the 4th or 5th round. But you don't use a 3rd round pick on a 3rd down back when you can sign a third down back for $1.1 million. So I hope that they didn't sit there in the room when they were talking about the draft and they were looking at the board and they were saying, well, you know what? I know we don't have any receivers, but we do need a replacement for Dontrell Hilliard. Just go re-sign Dontrell Hilliard. So I hope that Spears becomes a star. Because if he's not, given what else they needed when that pick came up, and given what his role will be on a team with Derrick Henry, it's a bad pick. If he's not a star, it's a bad pick. Because good is what you had. And you could have signed good for $1.1 million. And when Tim Kelly says, well, it's not like we haven't had that, I'm thinking to myself, well, then why didn't you just bring that back for $1.1 million? Why'd you use a 3rd round pick to replace it? It better be better than what you had. At least that's my opinion on it. 615-737-1025. Indy Ben texts into the text line. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Don't know if I've gotten to them yet this hour. Indy Ben texts in to the text line talking about Derrick Henry. Says you cannot argue he's lost some of his explosiveness after his injury. He's about to be 30, Jared. It happens to all older running backs. I agree that at some point, Derrick Henry will not be able to run in the NFL anymore. I assume when Derrick Henry is 50, that he will not be able to crack 1,500 yards a season. You're right. But why do I have to make the assumption now at age 29 that it's going to happen for sure right now? We haven't seen that. You can tell me about Derrick Henry's explosiveness all you want. He was running behind a horrendous offensive line. His team had no receivers. So there was nobody to worry about. And they were so bad at blocking that early in the season they had to bring in Cody Hollister when they were going to run the ball because they didn't trust any of the other wide receivers to block for him. You talk about the explosion and the big plays. Remember that the way it used to be around here, when Derrick would break a big run, that Corey Davis was down the field 20, 30 yards blocking. Last year, Derrick has a big run against Cincinnati. I think it was a catch. Derrick has a big run, and the defensive back caught up to him and knocked the ball loose because Treylon Burks could not hold his man. So it's different. And I'm not ready to sit there and say that you should get rid of Derrick Henry because one day Derrick Henry's not going to be good. And that's what ESPN's telling me. ESPN's telling me that the Titans had the worst offseason in the NFL because they kept Derrick Henry and they kept Ryan Tannehill. Even though those are the only two reasons why they win any games. And Pat Kerwin's telling me that I need to give the ball to Hassan Haskins more? Why? Hassan Haskins needs to prove that he needs the ball more, and then I'll give him the ball more. Dre says, keep spitting those cold, hard facts, Jared. You're welcome, Dre. I'm with you. The hell with all the media talk. And then he says, tighten up, which drives me crazy because, again, I don't think it's a fan take. I don't think it's some local Bobo take that, guys, Ryan Tannehill has a better quarterback rating than all these quarterbacks that everybody thinks are better than Ryan Tannehill. They get a better quarterback rating than Derek Carr. He had a better quarterback rating than Justin Herbert. Now, is he a better quarterback than Justin Herbert? No. But he had a better quarterback rating, which means he wasn't that bad. Driving me crazy. Texture says, Jared, how concerned are you about Levis's issues on short and intermediate throws? Do you think the coaches can fix it? That comes from Christopher. I do think they can fix it, and I am not concerned right now. It's May. It's a passing camp. They're not really doing anything big, so I'm not ready to, get worked on it now. If he's the backup quarterback and has to go into a game, then I'll worry about it then. Then it will be important. Texter says, people around here always cry that the Titans don't get talked about enough nationally, but then when they do, I feel like the opinions are way off because the people who talk about them don't actually watch the Titans. That's why I really only care what the local guys say. Let the national media talk, and hopefully the Titans can prove them wrong. Here's what I'll say to that, though. Sometimes the local media gets too bogged down on minutia. And I use Racey McMath as the example. I am convinced that Racey McMath is only considered good by the local media because the local media in practice last year, and I was there for all of these, saw him beat Caleb Farley for all these big touchdowns last year. And so they saw that, and it's like, hey, McMath's got it in him, when really it's just, guys, Farley stinks. Like, that's why that is what it is. It's that way because Farley's terrible. Like, that's why. But the local media gets too, bogged down in it sometimes. But I would agree that they understand the Titans way more than the national guys. I think, there's a little give and take here. Sometimes there's a need to look yourself in the mirror. The one thing that drives me crazy about the national media is that this time last year they were all pumping Matt Ryan and the Colts, and now they're all pumping Jacksonville, and I feel like it's the exact same amount of pump. Like, I think it's the exact same amount of pump for Jacksonville and Jacksonville that it was last year for Indy. And then Indy went down the toilet, and nobody was like, holy crap, we got that one wrong. And when Jacksonville goes down the toilet this year, if they do, which I think it's 50-50 that they might, people won't say, oh, boy, we got that one wrong. They'll just say, yeah, Trevor Lawrence hasn't rounded the way we thought he would. So on and so forth. Andrew from Clarksville says, what do you think about Logan Ryan posting a video of him and Kevin Byard working out today? I don't care. Is Logan Ryan even on a team in the NFL?
I don't think so.
Is he done?
I think he might have retired officially.
Like, I think this game has passed Logan Ryan up. What do I think of him and Kevin Byard working out together? I don't think anything of it. I think that Kevin Byard is staying away from the Titans during OTAs, and that I feel like internally it probably kills Kevin Byard to do so, but that he must have a reason for doing it. Now, TD came on the show earlier today, and I think TD would know. And TD said there are no hard feelings, and everything has been smoothed over between the Titans and Byard's camp. But the one reason I kind of have a hard time with that is simply because if everything was smoothed over, then why wouldn't Byard, a guy who's almost always there, why wouldn't Byard be there when they're on the field practicing football? Instead, he's working out with Logan Ryan. And I don't see Byard as the kind of guy who's like, my way is way better than their way. But TD said there's no hard feelings. So I don't know what to make of it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
This fall,
Andy, 24-21, your final.
The Game.
All by himself for a one-hand flush.
Gets bigger.
The doors on the board.
Your new home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. Football, men's basketball, baseball, and women's basketball all live here. Your home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Pierce the Veil and The Used together in one night. Creative Control Tour. This Wednesday night, Nashville Municipal Auditorium. With special guests, John Bracco and Death by Romy. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Pierce the Veil and The Used live.
20 years ago, when Genesis Diamonds came to Nashville, this was one of the most expensive cities in America for diamond jewelry. Our radical approach and no middleman pricing changed that forever. And now we're doing it again, this time with lab-grown diamonds. We were shocked to find out what the other mall stores and the other big radio advertisers were charging. They sell their platinum 4-carat VS2 lab-grown earrings for $15,720. We sell them for $6,900. Their 3.08 carat lab-grown round diamond with G-color VS2 clarity is $10,045. We sell it for $5,900. Looks like they might be going back to the old ways. If they're charging this much on lab-grown diamonds, kind of makes you wonder what else they're selling at the same outrageous markup. Nashville, we are not going backwards. At Genesis Diamonds, our non-commissioned trusted advisors are here to give you all the information with details you can trust and prices you can count on. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for our huge Memorial Weekend trade-in and savings event. This Memorial holiday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus trade-in towards the purchase of any new clubs, including all the top brands. Save big on apparel. The more you spend, the more you save. All these great deals and more happening this Memorial Day weekend at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at edwinwattsgolfshops.com.
Buffalo Bill's Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's east entrance. 5 museums in one, including a wonderful Plains Indian Museum. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bill's Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Cromwell Media, the proud owner of this radio station, is recognizing 3 of our talented teammates in May. At 102.9 The Buzz, part-time host Roman Haviland notches 11 years, and Chris Atticus, the Buzz brand manager and midday host, celebrates 3 years. Nick Frazier, part-time producer on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, passes his first year with us. We thank each of them for helping us make a difference every day. And by the way, we're always looking for new talent. Ping us at together@cromwellmedia.com and let's talk.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
This number makes more sense. It does not make more sense.
It's absolutely. Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are. Robbie and Rexrode.
Yay, we win. No, we don't. We lose. No, I disagree.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 9.
If you're good enough, you're good enough. It's absurd.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tonight, we were invited, Ian, to the Predators watch party at the Ford Ice Center.
Did you get your nap in?
I mean, I didn't see. That's the thing. The Milwaukee Admirals play Coachella Valley tonight at 9 p.m. Go Admirals! Woo! Unfortunately, at 9 p.m., that's too late for me. I honestly probably would have gone if the watch party was at 7 o'clock. Now, I'm not sure how long I would have stayed, but I probably would have gone. But this 9 o'clock thing, and look, again, the Ford Ice Center's where they're having the watch parties. If you're one of these people that stays up way late, knock yourself out, and root for your hockey team, do what you want to do. It should be the motto of this show. The value's freedom. Do what you want to do. You want to root for the AHL team because you think it means something for the NHL team? You knock yourself out. You do it. But I will not be able to make it to the watch party tonight. 9 o'clock, that's too late. That would be too late. Look, I don't like it when the Predators have playoff games at 8:30. Now, I still go, and I stay up for that. But, I can't do the staying up for the watch party. You probably can, like you people out there. Not me. I'm an old peepop. I'm in bed. I'll say this. I wake up to text messages from Caroline like every other day because I think Caroline goes to sleep like way later than I do. And I know you with 2 kids. I know there is absolutely no way that you're going to be able to make it to the 9 p.m. watch party tonight.
I stay up late. I just have stuff to do. I'm up late.
So you could go to the Admirals watch party tonight.
I could, yeah.
So would you like to volunteer to represent the Stillman and Company show in cheering our team, the Milwaukee Admirals, on?
I would prefer a weekend so I don't have to leave Nicole home with the 2 kids. But I would maybe consider Saturday.
Do you not watch your kids on the weekend too?
I do, but she doesn't have to get up early for work tomorrow.
She's a teacher. School's out.
Not tomorrow. They have one more day. The teachers actually have to go tomorrow without the kids.
That's tough.
That's kind of boring. But
that's tough.
Yeah.
Well, we will not be making it to this watch party, but we will try to make it to another watch party at some point here to, again, support our team, the Milwaukee Admirals. Woo! Get excited about that. Tonight, basketball comes on. Hockey's over. So tonight, like the Vegas is playing Dallas, they'll win.
That's correct.
That's over. It's over. Like, that game's coming on tonight. If Dallas puts up a fight, I'll be shocked. I think that one's over. I think the Stanley Cup's set. I think it's Vegas, Florida. I think it won't get a good TV rating, but I do think it will be interesting. Like, I think it will be good, high-end, fast hockey in a Vegas, Florida series. So, again, that game's coming on right here at 6:30, and then the Admirals are coming on after that. But to me, it's about basketball tonight because the Boston Celtics won Game 4, and they won Game 5, and tonight is Game 6. That is right. Tonight's Game 6?
I think tonight's Game 5.
Tonight's Game 5?
Yeah, I think they've only won 1.
Why did I think they had won 2?
That would be a much more drama. I would like that.
Well, then never mind. I was gonna go with the NBA music, to get excited. I know, but it's like this is for competitive, fun, exhilarating, exciting basketball. And I don't know if Game 5 is gonna do that. Why did I think it was Game 6? Stupid. Oh, Jared, what were you thinking today? Yeah, the Game 5 where Jason Tatum might try. I just... Go ahead and give me the music. Oh, yeah. This is the NBA on NBC. I love that. It takes me back to my childhood. That's it for us. ESPN Radio for 30 minutes. Game 4 of the Vegas sweep over Dallas. And then the Admirals at Coachella Valley after that. Go Admirals, baby. Stillman and Company. We'll see you tomorrow, too.
The offseason.